JB and AC. The energy was awesome. Those two are just like really finding their groove.
4 straight overall wins.
$100,000. Adam Cianciarulla. Checkered flag and Justin Brady.
Cianciarulla has won the 2019 Pro Motocross Championship.
He's gonna do it to become the oldest winner in the history of Supercross.
Hey guys, welcome back to the AC and JB show. JB, we've got a lot to talk about, man. 250 preview show going into 26. We've talked about it before, but the energy starts building. The energy starts building, and maybe at post Thanksgiving, I would say. We just wrapped up our A1 media days, talked to a lot of the riders at Angel Stadium. The hype's officially building. It's that time of year.
Yeah, you know what I think is funny about all this, and even when I was racing, I felt this way. Towards the end of motocross or now SMX, you're like, man, I just need a break. I just want to be at home for a little bit. And you're at home for like 2 weekends, and I'm chomping at the bit to get going. And that's kind of the sense that I feel with everyone. We were at the media days at Angel Stadium last week. That was a lot of fun to catch up with the crew, the broadcast crew, and then a lot of different riders. And so we'll talk about that. But don't you get that feeling? And did you feel that same way? You're like, I just need a break. And then you get 2 weekends off. You're like, don't know what to do with yourself.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Then you just end up overtraining during the week to try to calm your mind down a little bit. But it was funny, the media days, for those that don't know, riders come to Angel Stadium. I think it was last, Tuesday and Wednesday. They have all these stations that they do all their hero shots for TV, interviews with Bondo for the main broadcast. And then you have, the broadcast crew, Lee Diffie, RC, Weege, myself, Justin, Jason Thomas, everybody that you can possibly think of. And what I think is funny is we're in the same room from 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 at night. Riders come in 30-minute increments, and we kind of just go around the room, ask them questions. We're starting to build our storylines. But I think it's funny is all the dirt bike riders, like you and I, in that room for 12 hours, like all of us, like just chomping at the bit to move around and seeing everybody all fidgety, and like it's really hard to contain the personalities that we have in the broadcast booth for 12 hours in a room. It's very stimulating for me. I don't know about you, JB, but I think they're long days. I actually kind of look forward to it. But that's what I thought was funny, is just watching everybody kind of all fidget around and get through the day.
Yeah. I had a little pinch me moment. I got to be honest. I was actually talking to my mom a couple days ago, and I was like, man, I'm just so thankful and like grateful to be a part of it. And I'm sitting next to you. We're taking notes, asking questions to Eli Tomac and Chase Sexton and Coop and all these legends, right? And then we've got RC and Stu in the room who we're talking to the whole day. Like it was a pinch me moment, dude. It just was like, I'm so thankful to be a part of it. We have a really, really fun job that we get to do each and every Saturday. And then hanging with RC and Stu, the guys that I mean, what can you say about them, right? You can't say enough good things. So that was a ton of fun. And then when in between each rider coming in the room and leaving, we're like bench racing about stuff. We're like trying to read their minds, of like, what do you think? How'd he look? And so it was a pinch me moment, dude. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I think it's cool to see someone like RC and James Stewart, these guys that have accomplished everything there is to accomplish. And it's just cool to see that they're still so into it. Like, it doesn't matter if you won a million races or you didn't win any races. Like, just the passion that we all have for it, it's kind of contagious. And it's cool to be in a room where people are on the same page, pretty much. But let's get into this thing, JB. We got a very, very special guest, and I'm looking forward to talking to. This is the guy that got me into golf. I don't know if you know this or not, but we're going to have Cole Seeley on, talk 250 preview show here. We're going to start at the top of the list with Star Racing Yamaha, work our way through, get Cole's thoughts, your thoughts. JB, let's get into this thing, man. I'm excited.
All right, joining us now on the show, multi-time 250 Supercross race winner. He's a 450 Supercross race winner, and he's the sole reason why AC is on the golf course weekly, basically daily. It's our friend, Cole Seeley. What's up, Cole?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Where
we were
where
just
we at
talking
now?
about eight. What's that?
Where are we at now? We'll catch up a little bit on the golf side of things, but as far as you personally, you're a Southern California kid, but where are we at today?
Yeah, born and raised in SoCal, but you guys know just as good as I do that the sport kind of brings you around the country and around the world, and you start to experience different parts and places you might fit in a little better. So, yeah, we're up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho now. Been up here. I was up here for 2 years, moved back to California for a year, and now I've been up here for like 6 months. So I think this is where I'm going to raise my family. And yeah, we love it up here.
No more California, Cole. You miss Marietta much?
You know what I do? Like when I moved to Marietta, like the whole, how the industry is kind of based in that part of Southern California, I didn't love it because it was like I had to move there and I was so used to where I was from in California. But the older I get, the more I miss it. Just like the memories that were there, the friends that I made, and even like when we stayed in Florida, places like that. I don't know. I think you just start to really value those things the older you get and the further away you are from being a professional racer.
Is watching me swing a golf club for the first time, do you have nightmares about that moment? I still have the video on my phone, and I show people every once in a while. It was like literally the first time I ever swung a club. And it might be the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Well, yeah, but you had really bad shoulders, still do, but
terrible.
And you never played before. And it was like, it was a great summer. It was me, Christian, Kenny, Chase, you, and I, and everybody but you kept going to the golf course. There's nothing to do in Claremont other than ride, train, or golf. And then you finally worked up the courage to come out with us. And I still remember the first time that you played. You were very, very true to your scorecard, and I think you shot like a 155.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You wrote down every single stroke. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I think I still have that scorecard laying around somewhere. It's in the 150s. It's in the 150s, which is that's insane.
But you kept saying like, I'm here to learn. I'm just gonna write down my score.
Dude, you know what,
dude?
I think back on those times too, and what's crazy is that we somehow were able to do all the training volume and then go golf, and it's like 110 degrees outside. Like I could never get away with that now.
I know. I still remember Christian and I would wake up on Wednesdays because that was like our light day, get our workout in before like 10 a.m. and then we'd go play 18, get lunch, and then go play another 18.
Nuts, dude.
Yeah.
JB, you don't know about that life, dude.
Dang. That's crazy. I've never played 36 holes in a day. No shot.
We were dedicated. I think we wanted to be pro golfers more than we wanted to be pro racers.
Cole, do you ride much these days?
I don't. I actually, when I moved to Idaho back from California, I didn't even bring a bike with me. I don't have any of my gear, none of my bikes, nothing. Everything's still in California. I got to go get it. But I've just been so busy. The last time I rode was actually testing the Ducati on the Supercross track for the first time.
Gnarly.
Which was cool. Yeah, when I got that phone call from Troy, it was like, hey, do you want to be the first one to ride a Ducati on U.S. soil? And I was like, absolutely, sign me up. So we went to Glen Helen, and then the following week went out to the Troy Designs test track. So it was a really cool experience.
Pretty rad. You still have the skill to do that, JB.
I don't. I'm far from it. I wouldn't even triple any of the rhythm sections. I was just like, I'm a dad now. I got to keep it mellow, not get hurt, get home in one piece.
I get it.
Was there ever any talk, Cole, of obviously you and Troy have a super tight relationship. You wore Troy Designs basically your whole career. You rode for him. You won races for him. So that relationship is, you guys are really good friends. Now with him doing that Ducati team, was there any ever talk? Because I feel like it's a perfect fit. Like the way you ride, I feel like you're really good at testing. You've ridden some of the best bikes in the world. Was there ever any talk, or would you have been interested if you were a part of the team or as a test rider or anything?
Yeah, there were some talks about that. Yeah, it's crazy. I've been in Troy Designs gear now for 16 years and still technically a rider. I still do a lot of photo shoots and testing for them here and there. But Yeah, I mean, I did want to be involved for sure. I think having like there's a lot going over at Troy Lee where he's taking over the company again. It was kind of like I think he had some personal issues going there where he wanted to kind of get away and live life a little bit, but he's full swing back with the team, back with the company. But with that, I think there wasn't a lot of money being able to kind of be thrown around, and he has some really good guys in positions that should be there. And for me to kind of step in with this whole new development going on, I don't think was really realistic. But yeah, there was quite a while there, probably a year ago, where I really did want to get back into the industry and was kind of trying to find something going on where I could be involved again. But it just didn't work out. So I kind of just had to figure something else out. But I mean, you guys kind of probably know as you step away from racing, it's like we don't realize how fortunate we are to have this craft and this like life project going on, to really have like, you don't even really think about the purpose in life. It's just like, this is what I want to do. Yeah. And then when you step away from the industry entirely, like what I did, it's really weird. You feel like you're 18 again, just graduating high school and don't really know what you're going to do each and every day. And it feels a little aimless, but yeah, I mean, kind of found my thing now, but I do miss the industry a lot.
I get that. And I get that. Yeah. And what's crazy, and you know this, JB, there are so many times where you're like, F this industry. Like this seems so, this just seems so brutal. And there were times, like low points in my career, where I imagined this life when I got done racing, where it was, I was going to be separate. I was going to do my own thing. But once that becomes a reality, once you step away from racing and you see the other side of that, it's pretty, like you said, Cole, you've done a really good job of like establishing yourself completely outside of the industry with what you have going on now, but it's not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not. And like you're saying, even like on your really bad days at the test track, I mean, we've all had them where we're like, what am I even doing?
Yeah.
Like, there's still an underlying sense of purpose there because you're trying to get to a goal and you're trying to better yourself at your, given craft. But yeah, it's weird. It's definitely a weird transition of like having this purpose that like shapes your life, and then you step out and you're like, who am I? Yeah. What am I doing?
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tough transition for a lot of people, but AC, quick story real quick. So 2012, I'm on Factory Honda. Cole is on TLD Honda, and Rich Simmons, who's now the team manager of Star Racing, Yamaha, the 450 side, was Cole's mechanic. And Cole
and your roommate.
Yeah, and my roommate. That's right. So I was kind of going back and forth between North Carolina and California. So Rich is like, hey, Cole wants to kind of train with you. We were riding it together a lot anyway. So I literally, that whole off season, which is like the most fun time I ever had, basically everything I did, Cole would do with me. So like if I was doing a bike ride at 6 a.m., I'd text him the night before. He'd show up at 5:45.
Yep.
We'd do a bike ride. We were working out in the gym with Charles Dow. And like, you want to talk about bike skills and like bicycle skills? Dude, have you seen Cole on a BMX bike or a mountain bike? It's unbelievable.
I don't think I've ever seen you on a BMX bike, but I think I have seen. I think we did a couple mountain bike rides back in the day.
Yeah, it's a mountain bike.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You got the skills.
Yeah, that was fun times, Cole. Good.
Yeah,
times.
It's good. I don't think. I mean, I don't think people realize how many stories that between me and Adam, between me and JB, really have. It's cool to see you guys on TV, but at the same time, I'm like, man, this is wild. Like the two guys that I probably grew the closest to in our industry, like racers that I was competing against, were you two guys. So it's really cool to see what you guys are doing.
Oh, appreciate that, big dog. It's cool to have you on here, man. I haven't talked to you in a while. It's good to see you.
Yeah, I know. It's like we kind of feel like we talk to each other all the time because of Instagram and all that stuff.
Yeah, for real, huh? That's just the way it goes. All right, boys.
Do you still follow it every week? Cole,
I do, yeah.
Follow it every week? Yeah.
Yeah, the first year I stepped away, I was a little like, I need to kind of get on with my life, but this is our life. Like this, the core of us, we're still fans. Like that's the reason that we got into it. So I love it. I love watching and setting the time aside to catch up on even the overseas stuff. I love, kind of seeing where guys are at before the season really starts.
It's funny. I was just telling JB the same thing, that the first year or even last year when I got done, it was a lot harder for me to watch the races back and to watch the off-season races. I didn't do it a lot. And this off-season, I don't know what happened. I've been riding a little more, been getting a little more kind of back into that. So maybe that's part of it. But I've been watching everything, dude.
I think part of it, is because we raced against these guys. You don't really want to see him do good. You're like, screw that guy, I want to beat him. And then that kind of fades away, and like, yeah, you just appreciate their skill
for sure
and time put in.
Well, let's start with the team that actually you're somewhat familiar with. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha had Cole Seeley out to ride the 250. Because I would say, if you ask anyone, they're always curious of what that Star Yamaha 250 bike is like.
Right.
Cole, what's it like?
Yeah, it's a rocket ship. Yeah, it was. I wasn't really in the position in my life to give it a full effort to go try and win a championship again at the age of like 32, 33. But when I rode that bike, I was like, man, I wish I had this bike when I was 20 years old, 21 years old. It was so fast, and our bikes were good. The Troy Lee Hondas were good, but that bike was just night and day better than any 250 I've ever ridden. So yeah, those guys have a little secret weapon no matter where they show up.
And we got to start at the top of the list there. Haiden Deegan. There were a few shows where I was mentioning him potentially being on a 450 at A1 because I heard that. Like I heard that
too.
Yeah. And I don't know. Did he use the off-season stuff as a test run to feel it out and then decide? I'm not quite sure, but it seems like he's going to be lining up at A1 on a 250. And obviously, I don't think we've had like this much of a lock for a championship. Every once in a while, you get a guy in his last year 250s that's pretty dominant that you pretty much know is going to win the title. I don't think I've ever been more confident about someone winning a championship than Haiden Deegan winning this West title.
Yeah, it's hard to bet against Haiden. One of the most polarizing guys in our sport has ever seen, but the talent's there. You can't doubt that. And yeah, is he going 450, 250? I mean, 450, I was kind of against that when I heard that because it's like, he's young, like if you still have the opportunity to race 250, I think you should stick with it. We all have relatively short careers, and I think that adds an extra year or two to his career in 450s because he could step up the 450. God forbid something happen, he get hurt or his confidence gets shut down. But I think it's a smart move if he doesn't line up on a 250 because yeah, like you said, he's pretty much guaranteed the title, I think.
Yeah, I think when you think about Haiden Deegan as just like his skill set, the only thing that he really needs brushed up on, I mean, just like a percent, would be a Supercross day from top to bottom. Like you think about the first half of the West Coast season last year, we're kind of all like scratching our heads like, dang, where's he at? Because Juju kind of had him covered. There's a couple other guys in there that was throwing their name in the hat. Joe Shimoda started the season really strong. And then towards the end of the season, it was dominated by Haiden. And then motocross, we know like he's ready to go 450. Like he's been ready for probably 12 months. So I think it's smart. I really do. Those guys are smart. The whole family's smart. The team's smart. And for him to be out of the 450 truck now, I think there's some pride in that. Probably he can do his own gear deal. He's going to be like a full-on factory 250 guy, kind of like, James was at Kawasaki or something. So I agree with you guys. I think he's, I don't know if, look, obviously no one's ever a lock, but I think he's far and away the favorite. But do you think that puts AC, I'll ask you, do you think that puts so much pressure on him? Because look, if he doesn't win, it's like, it's not a disaster, but it's close to it.
I think it does. I mean, of course it does put a lot of pressure on him, but so far in his career, every time there has been a lot of expectations, a lot of pressure, it doesn't seem like it bothers him too much. But I think for him, he's got to win the championship, of course. But the way that he wins the championship to me, is going to kind of determine how well he starts on a 450 going into outdoors too. Because I think he knows that he needs to take a little bit of a step. Like you guys said, he's ready to go outdoors on a 450. I think he's going to be a top 3 guy. I think he's got potential to win races there. But Supercross, he does need to polish up a little bit if he wants to compete with Sexton and Jed. And I think it'll still take some time. But if he can go out there and truly dominate, like I'm talking laying on the ground in the first turn and coming back to second or winning by 10, 15 seconds like Villapoto did in, 07, I think it was. So I think the way that he wins the title is probably as important as winning the title. Like if I was inside his head, that's what I would guess he would be thinking. And the only thing that I've seen, and it's kind of highlighted by some of the off-season races he did, the thing in particular that I think he needs to improve to be ready for the next level, I think he's got to find a way to be a little less emotional when he's in a battle. Because a lot of times on a 250, and you know this, Cole, it's easier to get a gap. It's easier to get a good start and kind of be able to ride your own race and not have somebody right on you. In the 450 class, you're always going to be in a battle. And when Haiden gets when he just gets kind of aggro, you can see some of the looking back and moving around, and that kind of stuff is going to be really difficult to transfer to the next level. So I think if anything I need to see from Haiden in Supercross is just to be a little bit smarter when stuff's starting to get emotional. Is that?
Yeah. No, 100%. I agree. I think he needs this year, because he has the talent. He's got the speed, no doubt. Probably more than anybody he lines up with every time. But he needs another year to develop, like you're saying, like characteristic traits almost. Because the 250 class is so different than the 450 class. Like there's the layer of respect between riders. Like some guys do bang bars, but you got to line up with these guys for 5 months out of the year. Like you don't want to have an enemy round one, and then even if it's somebody that you are faster than, you go to make a pass, they're gonna make your life hell as much as they can, because you have a grudge against them. So yeah, I agree with that. I think there's a layer of emotion that kind of he gets tripped up on, and it's his own doing most of the time. And when he steps with the 450 guys, it's a different. You're not racing with kids anymore. You're racing with men, and I don't know. There's so many more variables when you get into that class that you really have to prepare yourself for.
Yeah, AC, you mentioned you think Hayden's going west. That's kind of what they're saying. That's what Hayden's saying. So he's going to run the number 1 plate. But another guy on his team that we're hearing is potentially going west as well, that started the East Coast crazy strong last year and has been racing a lot this offseason, is Max Anstie. So do you think that could be his number 1 threat, even though it's his teammate, Cole? Anstie, what do you think about him?
I mean, we saw him at World Supercross, and he looked confident. He looked under control. I think that's one thing that he's lacked a little bit is kind of riding over his head and getting himself injured. And then, even at the start of the East Coast last year, he rode really well. So I do think I actually have him on my list too, of like guys that are a title threat for sure. I think he just needs to stay in his own lane, not ride over his head, just execute, and wait for Haiden to kind of make his mistakes and capitalize on those. But yeah, Max, I think like I said, if he stays in his lane, I think he's a solid choice for the title.
Yeah, I think so. I think that what we saw at the start of last year from him was, I wasn't quite sure that he had that level inside. Like I didn't think that he was that good, to be honest. And I think he's proven that he can absolutely be a top 3 guy every weekend. The thing about Max winning the championship is he hasn't proven to himself that he can do that. And this championship, of course, runs through Deegan. And so to me, does Max possess the skills necessary to win the title? Yes, but he's going to have to cross a bridge mentally, because it's not like most likely he is not going to run away with the title. He's not going to have 20 points going into the last round. If he's going to win the championship, it's going to be tight. So can he not fold when it's super close at the end? Haiden has been really good at that so far. I mean, didn't work out in the playoffs this year, but most of the time Hayden's in contention. He makes it happen. So to me, that's the only barrier to Max winning the title, is kind of carrying it all the way through to the end. JB, you agree? You know him better than I do.
Yeah, look, I work closely with Max, so I'm somewhat biased towards obviously what he did last year, coming out being so dominant the first, obviously the first round, the second round of Detroit, having that red flag. But the one thing that I think could possibly be an advantage over, and we'll get to like a Levi Kitchen or these other guys on other teams, and I want to get both your opinion on this, is their teammates. They do starts together every day. They do laps together every day. They know each other really well. So I feel like that could be a benefit for Max, knowing Haiden so well. Now, Haiden doesn't show all of his cards every week, but at least you know what he has on a Tuesday morning or a Wednesday morning. These other guys don't know anything that he has. They don't know if he's struggling on a Monday morning, because, look, we all know that during the week there's times when we're searching for bike settings and stuff, but Haiden seems to be able to rise over that and above that on a Saturday night. But I just wonder if that could be of anyone else. We're just talking championship on the West division. If Max has an advantage because he's Hayden's teammate. What do you think, Cole?
Yeah, I think there's advantage to that for sure, just because he sees his laps every single day. We all know all too well that there's practicers and there's racers. That guys, are a little faster in practice than they're at racing. But yeah, like I said earlier, I think Max just needs to focus on himself. Like, make sure that he's, if second is the best he can do that night, get second. If third is, get third, and focus on himself and let everything else work itself out. If Hayden's a little bit faster and he's winning, then let him win. But he's going to make his mistakes, and I think Max just needs to focus on executing and getting the best position he can each night.
And I think, kind of piggybacking off that, I think for Max, it'll be pretty easy coming into the year to not put a whole lot of expectations on himself. That's what he said after Tampa last year too, that he looked relaxed. He looked like the only guy on the track. And Cole, some of those 250 openers for Supercross, some of the craziest riding like you'll ever see. The guys are nervous, going every which way, and he looked solid. The thing for Max will be kind of what I said before, but say he does go out there, low expectations, does well, finds himself in the championship hunt. To me, that's when it becomes difficult to not put the expectation on yourself and not kind of change that bar. It's easy to sit and plan in the off season and say, I'm going to go into Anaheim 1 this way. But when you find yourself in it and you start thinking, oh man, I really have a chance at this title, it's like, can you be disciplined in that moment and still go back, bring yourself back to what you were doing before? To me, that's going to be his biggest challenge. But JB, we know he's good in the whoops, man. He's so good in the whoops. Are we doing 9 whoops again this year? Has there been any talk on that?
No, I was told that they're going to do 11 at some races.
Really?
So, yeah, I think that'd be great.
I like that. Yeah. We need whoops in Cole. That's what I talk about it all the time on Race Day Live on this show. Now that I don't race anymore, I'm like, dude, let's see some more whoops out there. Let's see some more whoops.
I don't know if JB would have had as good a career as he did if they only had 9 whoops.
No way.
We went to some places and the whoops terrified me, and JB's just like, no, man, they're easy. Just grab another gear.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir.
Pretend there's only 3. I'm like, dude, you're crazy.
Yeah, this guy's nuts.
Yeah. All right, moving on. That's going to be interesting to watch if Deegan and Anstie go head to head on the West. A guy that we know for sure won't be on the West. He's going to go East. Cole Davies, maybe the surprise of the year last year. And Cole, you watching from home, I mean, how impressive was this kid? He was unreal, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we knew he was going to be good. We saw him in the amateur, the Supercross amateurs, and he was good. He was better than his competitors. I didn't think he was like going to come out and do what he did based on that. And he came out to A1 and just came out swinging. He rode so well all year. Like, I was cheering for him, to see a rookie with that much race skill, like, and talent and just everything, all the boxes checked, was so impressive. If that's where he's lining up on East, then I think he is the title favorite for sure.
Yeah, with Cole, the one thing, he started off the year so strong, but just that huge crash he had in practice at Salt Lake, and then I think he got hurt again in the playoffs. So he's kind of had a tough run since Supercross, and I think even though he came out and proved that he can win, and no doubt he knows how good he is on Supercross, but I think he's going to have to get his legs under him again a little bit. You're coming in last year, a lot of people didn't expect. I mean, to talk about that, we talked about it plenty during Supercross, but I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. At what he was doing in the SMX Next class, like, he was good, like you said, Cole. I think he was the best guy in the whoops, but Drew Adams would beat him most of the time. I mean, he got, I don't know, 50% better in the offseason. So to me, I still don't know, like, how much better he can be than even where he started now, because he made such a leap in such a short amount of time. So my only worry for Cole is just that he's kind of had the wind taken out of his sails a little bit. And I think he's going to need to find his confidence again. But I don't have any doubt that he wins 2 or 3 races. But I think that we could potentially see a slow start. I could also eat my words. Absolutely. I could.
Yeah,
no
I mean, to kind of piggyback off that, he didn't really have any wind in his sails to begin with going into last year, and he came out hot. And I mean, we don't know what's going on at the test track. We didn't know what was going on last year, and we were surprised pleasantly. So I'm hoping for the same surprise this year from him.
Yeah, he's a hell of a rider, man. Like, crazy.
Yeah, he's so good. And you mentioned it, AC. The only question that I have for Cole Davies is, what's it going to feel like when he lines up as the championship favorite? Seeley mentioned it. He's his championship favorite lining up. No matter who's on the coast, I think he's the title favorite. How does he respond to that? What's that feel like? Does he kind of get a little anxious to that pressure? Does he have one bad race? Because we know in a short series like these divisional championships, you can't really have one bad race. Maybe one, but then you definitely can't have 2. So, and I just think as a rookie, no expectations. He wasn't even supposed to race last year. He was supposed to do SMX Next one more year. He was going so fast at the test track. They're like, hey, man, you're going racing. So I think that it leaves so much room for improvement. It leaves so much room for mistakes as well, because people are expecting them. Well, now we have this huge expectation on him. The team has this expectation, and he has the expectation. So how does he respond to that? That's my only question. If he responds to that, I mean, sky's the limit with this kid.
Yeah, and we don't have any data on that either. We know how other guys that have been in the sport for 3-4 years, how they act when they show up as a title favorite or maybe halfway through the season. But to his credit, he was battling for the title when he, had his accidents, and I didn't see any lack of speed or any, crack under the pressure. So, I mean, if that's going off that data, then I think he's the guy.
To me, judging by his interviews, we talked to him a couple times last year, JB, like on Fridays, press day. The impression that I've got around Cole is that he doesn't seem like an overthinker. To me, he has the personality type, based off our limited interaction, where he can kind of shut the noise out, to me. So I don't think the expectation will be an issue, because like you said, Cole, once he did so well last year, like, the expectation did step up quite a bit. And sometimes, you've seen it plenty of times before, somebody comes out, proves themselves, then they get the expectation and the pressure, and then they blow it and they go backwards. And he never did that. So that's a good sign for him going into next year. And we got a couple more guys to go with Star before we get to PC. But I will say, I think the East title is going through Hammaker. I'm just gonna leave it there before we move on to the next to the next Star guy.
Wow, on the 10.
Yeah,
On the 10.
I called it last year. Called it last year before Indy. We know how that worked out, Justin. So,
all right, next guy, Star Racing Yamaha. Not sure what coast he's going to, but he's a proven race winner. but the inconsistency of Nate Thrasher is just throwing him off each and every year. And I really think when we talk about pressure, and I don't know if this is 100% true or not, but it seems like Nate Thrasher wins when there's the least amount of pressure. Like it's late in the year, he's coming through a last chance qualifier, you don't expect it, it's an East-West showdown, and all of a sudden Thrasher's just like, wait, what? Like, he was by far the best 250 guy there was tonight. And I have yet to see that at like an opening round or the very beginning part of a championship. I don't know if it's pressure. He obviously has the skills to do it. So I think this is a huge year for Thrasher. I really do. I think if you're the team, if you're even Nate for himself, like, he's getting to the age now where it's time to do it. It's time to win a title or win multiple races in a year. And yeah, big year for Nate Thrasher.
Yeah, guys like Nate Thrasher, like you're saying, the inconsistency. I feel like it all starts with the start, right? Like, they get a good start, and it is just eye-opening, like, to watch them come alive, and then they don't get a start, and they don't really move forward as well as guys like Deegan or some of the other guys that are lined up against going for the title. So I don't know, if I'm Nate Thrasher, I'm just practicing starts all off season long, just getting those dialed, because that's his saving moment right there.
He's won just enough. For, because there, like you said, Justin, there has been times where we're all starting to give up on Thrasher, where you're like, what's this guy doing getting 8th or 10th, and then he comes out and can be so dominant sometimes. So I don't know. To me, that points to something mentally. I think true confidence is really hard to come by. To not have any prior, to go and get 10th one weekend and then to be able to show up and win the next weekend, that's something that he's been able to do. And so, I mean, that would kind of indicate that he believes when he lines up, like, he can win races. So I'm not sure. There are just guys like that, as you said, Cole, that they get a bad start and they end up just riding like the guys they're around. And yeah. I don't know if Nate will ever break out of the kind of the rut that he's in now. But as you said, we have all those wins to go off. It's in there, but it's time. It is time. But I will say, what is he, 22 years old? I thought the guy was like 27 or something, because he's been pro since he was 16 or 17. So he does have a little time left. But you would think we'd be getting. You would think Star's patience is starting to wear a little bit thin there with him. I think he's got to stay healthy, get better starts, and he's got a shot to be. He just needs to get more podiums. Like, win 2 races and get 5 other podiums, and that's a successful year for him, I believe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and kind of going back to Deegan, just let the guys make their mistakes. And be there at the end.
Yeah, just be the quiet guy. Be the quiet guy in the corner nobody's talking about, and go out there and do it. I can't say enough about how cool of a dude Nate Thrasher is. Like, I love what he's about, 100%. Man. Just got the country boy, just kind gentleman thing going on. So, big fan. I'm hoping to see it. I'm hoping to see him go to the next level.
Yeah, I'm a fan as well. We golfed with him at the St. Jude golf tournament. AC, that was a ton of fun, and dude's got some game. He can play.
Is Pierce Brown? Is he going east or is he west?
I would think he's going east. Obviously, big injury last year, had some complications, and really didn't ride all through the summer. So kind of fresh back on the bike, and this is a guy that you think about. Las Vegas, the final round of SMX last year, he wins the race. His trajectory is just on the way up. He just signed a deal with arguably the best motorcycle in the 250 class with Star Yamaha. And we're just like, man, here we go. And he was kind of proving that. It was him and Anstie up front at Tampa in the main event, and had a crash, bad injury. And he's going to claw his way back up. I don't know Pierce that well. I've been a fan of his for a long time because of just the skills he can possess on the motorcycle. And the few times that I've talked to him, he seems like similar to Thrasher, honestly, like very genuine, Nice kid, very respectful. So I'm going to be cheering for him. But dude, expectation wise, I have no idea. If it's the old Pierce Brown, the expectation is to win. I'm giving him a hall pass for all of 26. I just want to see him get healthy, rebuild his career. And from there on forward, I think he can win races again if he gets healthy. But as far as 26, I'd just be stoked to see him there.
Yeah, I think Pierce's main flaw, he's got a lot of positives, super talented on the bike, very in control all the time, never really seems right over his head. But I think his flaw is mental strength. Like, I feel like he's not confident a lot of the times. And if something doesn't go right, he kind of gets flustered. That's just me. I don't know him very well personally. It just seems like from the outside looking in. So yeah, to kind of piggyback off of what JB said, like if he can just get some solid results under his belt and just start building and have it be just a year of, building confidence, getting mental strength back and kind of knowing that he belongs there. I think that's probably got to be the goal for Pierce Brown.
I think one of the hardest parts about, he's been a guy that people have always talked about being really fast during the week. He has that reputation as a guy that's very talented, because there's been times where he hasn't gotten the results for an extended period of time. And there's still this buzz in the industry that he can be a lot more than he is. He's just always been that guy that's had the speed like that. The one thing that I would add to this discussion that I would think has some value, I think when you go through a string of injuries and things aren't working out for you, I found this in my own career. I could be projecting, but I think subconsciously sometimes you're kind of if things are going good, you can kind of start bracing yourself for impact a little bit. It's just natural. Like when stuff goes bad, you have a bad crash, you get hurt. Those moments are obviously really, really difficult on us. They're really hard to overcome. And you don't want those things to happen again. So it's hard to me, it was on like a subconscious level of like expecting it to go bad at a certain point. We've all seen guys through the years that have been so talented, but, have gotten hurt. And I think that's a big part of it, is just like figuring out a way psychologically to allow yourself to believe that things can work out and things can go great. He clearly has the talent for it. But I agree with you, Justin. I don't think we put too much expectation on the year. I think he gets through it. He shows those flashes of what we know him to be so far. Get some starts, run up front, get some podiums. And I think that's a good year. And then going into 27, you would think that would put him in a position to be a title favorite. I think 27 is his title year.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Big fans of Pierce Brown. Hopefully he has a good year. Now on to maybe the most interesting man in moto, Michael Mosiman. And quick story about Michael. So AC and I mentioned we were at the media days a week ago, and the whole broadcast team is in a room, and the rider walks in, and we asked him questions, and we just talk. Well, Mosiman comes in, he sits down, he's like, so I'm just supposed to tell you about myself? And he went on a rant and just told us about himself. And he commanded the room. And I think he's a really fun kid to talk to. And I really think there's a couple guys on my list. That I think can have a breakout year. And I don't even know if you would call it a breakout year for Michael, because he's been in championship contention before. But I would not be surprised, and you guys might think I'm crazy, I would not be surprised if Mosiman wins a race in 2026. He's that good. He seemed very, very confident, and he's pretty brutally honest with himself.
Yeah,
and
he is.
I believe Ricky was asking him a question, and maybe if it's the most confident he's ever been, and he's like, no, I was more confident when I was on gas. And he's like, but this is the second most confident I've ever been. Like, he's so honest. And Adam, you have to love that, right? And do you agree with me? Like, can he get a win, or am I crazy?
No, I don't think you're crazy. I still remember my last year on 250s. It was 2019 Denver Supercross, and he was kind of just making a name for himself. I knew who he was, but kind of barely, to be honest. And he got the whole shot. I came through. I passed him, and he passed me right back. Like he he did not care who I was at all, which I like. That impressed me. It kind of made me a little bit of a fan of him. I'm like, dude, this kid's pretty bold, like sending it like this. So yeah, he's a guy that is very, very fast, like very raw speed guy, but it's just keeping it together. And he kind of talked about it, like you said, at media days. He kind of talked about why he thinks some of those mistakes have happened and whatnot. And he, I think he definitely can be a bit of an overthinker, which, as you guys know, I relate to. So I think we all do. I'm a fan of him. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's got to knock a couple IQ points off on purpose in order to perform at his best.
Yeah, I think last year we really saw like a rebranding of who Michael Mosiman was as a racer and maybe even as a person. But no, I don't think you're crazy for saying that, JB. I think there's guys this year that are gonna win. They might not be title threats, and maybe they end up being that way. But yeah, I think Michael Mosiman's definitely like, if he can just take what he did last year and build on top of that as this new kind of reinvented rider, as I see it in my eyes, I think we're going to see a lot out of him this year.
And moving on, we finally got through Star, which I really don't think. I think that went a little shorter than I thought. I assumed we were going to be talking about like 15 dudes, and
yeah, that's what it looks like in the photo shoots.
Yeah,
like 10 dudes.
It's not that many. But PC, top of the list. I don't know, top of the list. This is tough between Hammaker, but I'm going to start with Levi Kitchen. And I think Levi, in terms of who PC has on the team right now, Levi Kitchen, Cameron Mcadoo, Drew Adams, Seth Hammaker, I think as of now, based off what I've seen, I think Levi has the highest ceiling, I think, indoors and out. He's shown more flashes indoors than out. Had that massive crash in Daytona last year, and I don't think he was ever really the same after that. And even I talked to him at our team shoot a little bit, and I think he kind of felt like he was in a rut after coming back from that injury. But dude, there has been times a couple years ago, I've talked about it, a couple years ago at Anaheim 2, I believe it was a Triple Crown in 2024, where I watched him ride, and I'm like, dude, this guy can be a 450 champion. Like there's times where he's healthy, confident, fit, and dude, he does things on a bike. He kind of reminds me of like Kevin Windham a little bit, or even you, Cole. Like he's just so natural on the bike, especially in Supercross. So for me, Levi's got to figure out a way, of course, to stay healthy and, to stay in it. But to me, he's so intriguing as to how good he can be. I don't think we've even seen 80% of what he can be totally. Do you agree with that, Cole?
Yeah, no, 100%. Super, super talented on the bike. Probably more talent than anybody lines up with. I think kind of piggybacking off some of the other riders, like he lacks a little bit of like mental strength. I think he needs a start in order to show how fast he is. And I think he just needs to know he's fast. Like he is one of the guys, and he needs to know that even if he gets a 10th place start, that he needs to make it to the front because he's the title guy. I think he lacks a little bit of confidence. My brother just sent me a clip of him at the test track yesterday, absolutely ripping, like crazy bike skill, the way that he's, soaking up some of the jumps and just pushing through. The momentum and everything is just all there. He needs to know that he's the guy when he lines up. And I think, like you said, like we've only seen 80%. I think that's true. Like if he had a confidence, and if he has this little confidence and he's going that fast, imagine how fast he'd be with, the confidence that he deserves.
Yeah, I think if you're Levi Kitchen, you're just putting Seattle 2024 on repeat in the living room. Just put that on repeat. Unreal. Because he was unbelievable there. And I agree with everything you guys are saying. I don't think Adam, you and I are on Race Day Live every week, and I don't know if we talked enough about how big of an injury that was for Levi in Daytona. I mean, that was a massive, massive injury, and for him to struggle on the way back, like that's pretty normal. But I mean, he's back, and they were all of the pro circuit guys in this media days. We're all talking about there was a little bit of lack of engine when they would come. We have metal great starts, obviously.
Yeah.
Then you go across the gate, and then when you hit the dirt, they all said the same thing, and they're all separate. They're all separately in there, and they all had the same sentiment, which was as soon as our bike hit the dirt, it would like not rev that much, like it would kind of drop in RPMs, and people would gap us. Well, now Levi tried a new engine setting like 2 weeks ago and said it's unbelievable, and so everyone's excited to try it now. You know, we were talking to Mcadoo and Drew Adams and Seth, and they're like, yeah, we're all excited to try it. So if he can get his starts figured out, I really believe between Anstie and Kitchen, they're going to be the biggest thorn in Haiden Deegan's side if they ride the West. And I think Kitchen and Deegan is more intriguing to me because of the history. Remember, it wasn't long ago, like they were kind of like had some beef, which I love, right? Like I think it's awesome to have that.
Well, did you see Deegan's comment on Instagram? I just saw some screenshot of it on X or something, but it was talking about somebody said Levi should go east, and Deegan was like, if he's smart, he would, or something. And I thought it was funny.
Oh, wow.
But that leads me to my question. This is something I wanted to talk about kind of separately, but how we know the way that Deegan goes about like these championship battles, and we kind of get the whole UFC thing that he does. What is the template to beating that? Like to how, like if you're Levi Kitchen, who's kind of just mellow, just likes riding his dirt bike, he's a good dude, laid back. Like, what is the best way to go about going against Haiden Deegan and all the things that come with that?
I think you if you're beating Haiden Deegan, I think you give your phone to your dad or your girlfriend
Totally.
or somebody, and you just like live in your own line or live in your own life and just enjoy it. And don't pay attention to any of the shit talking, because I don't. We've never really seen that. I mean, I guess social media is more relevant nowadays than it was when any of us were really. I'm maybe not Adam, but
Yeah.
But JV and I, like, it was like you kind of just posted and live your life. But now there's just so many feuds going on, and Haiden like thrives off
He
of
does.
it. He can talk the talk and walk the walk, so you gotta stay away, let him do his thing, and know that you beat him and you're beating him, and just, I don't know, don't look at your phone.
What do you think, JB?
Yeah, I think the template is exactly that, and we don't have to look very far in the rearview mirror to see what template didn't work, and that was Julien Beaumer. I mean, he literally admitted it to us last week, like he went about it the wrong way. And in the moment, I actually thought he was going about it the right way. Think about, he wins, you know, they get into it at Anaheim, and Haiden knocks him down. Julien had a chance to knock Haiden down in the main, didn't do it. Julien wins San Diego, starts to talk a little bit, and I thought, man, Julian's on his way. Like, he had the speed to do it. He had the confidence to do it. He was talking the smack. So that to me showed that he believed he could back it up. And he was backing it up until like round 5. And then it just went south. And he even said to us, like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. So I think if you're any other racer like Levi, you're like, yeah, I need to look at that. That didn't really work. Haiden started dominating. So, but also, you know, I was just thinking, I can't believe I didn't mention this, talking about Levi just a second ago, is Haiden simply lost the SMX World Championship because of Levi Kitchen. Like, I think we all agree on that, right? Like, the takeout in St. Louis cost Deegan hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, you know, that's in the back of his mind. But also, that could be benefit somewhat to Levi, because Haiden now knows Levi's maybe the only one that is going to do that and is capable of doing that. Like, not many people would do that to Haiden, you know what I mean? Because the backlash that you're going to get on social media, just all of it. And Levi honestly didn't seem that rattled by it. So I like this matchup. I hope they both go west and they go toe to toe. Levi's absolutely got the speed. There's no question. And I agree as far as the ceiling for Levi, man, it's as high as any ceiling that we see in the sport, because the way he can ride that 250 is going to translate to a 450. And I think his personality is great. I love it. He's got the bike to do it. Sounds like they've made some progress on that PC Cowie, and I'm here for it. I can't wait. He's definitely a championship contender, and it's his year to get it done.
The last thing that I will say about this is any rider that gets into it with Haiden, like we saw with Juju last year, I would say even if it doesn't work out on the racetrack, it may still be a positive, because how much more popular did those guys get? Like
exactly.
Look what happened with Chance Hymas.
I was going to say Hymas. Yep.
Yeah, Hymas in outdoors, Juju in Supercross. I mean, Haiden is really building these guys' brand for them. So it's kind of a smart play, especially if you're not a championship guy. Like, just start beef with Haiden. And
I like to see it. I like to see what Levi did, because if you're going to dish it, you got to be able to take it. And like if some of the other guys, Hymas and some of the other guys that he started these feuds with, Beaumer, if they gave him what he's giving them, it might hinder him a little bit, especially if it's more than one guy. And I think it needs to be humbled a little bit.
That's the thing. The only thing that these guys, I think Deegan is far and away in terms of what he can do on a bike, his mental strength, everything. He's far and away the favorite. The thing is, Haiden does have a lot of enemies. Like, you know how the vibe was down on the floor when that happened in St. Louis, Justin. Like, it's not a secret. Most of the riders are watching that and they're laughing their asses off. Like, that's just the nature of the game. And I'm sure Haiden knows that, right? He plays his game, and he does it really well. The thing is, when you're trying to win championships, and you said something earlier about this, Cole, but it's hard to make a lot of enemies and win a lot of titles. Like, you don't see somebody like Cooper Webb going out and making an enemy where he doesn't have to. Like, if he absolutely has to make an aggressive pass, he will. I think he's smart enough to know that. And I do think that we're going to see him back down kind of the making enemies thing a little bit. He's still going to be him, and I think he's going to have times where he gets a little reckless. But ultimately, he's a champion, and he cares about winning more than anything else. And so I actually predict that we're going to see a mellower Haiden Deegan this year.
Yeah, I agree. There's just been so many times in the past with Hymas, with Beaumer, where I'm like, guys, if you want him to stop doing it, then you got to give it to him. And that's why I was so happy. Not happy, just it worked in Levi's favor to kind of give it back, because now Haiden knows, like, if I mess with that guy, he's probably going to mess with me back.
Yeah.
And I think if you want to win the title and you got this one guy revving his bike and cross jumping and, going out of his way to take you out, then you got to put him in his place every now and then. If it's not that night, then,
parking lot,
settle the score the next week. Yeah. I mean, I want to see you guys go fast and race good. And it's frustrating when you have somebody kind of going out of their way to slow things down and start these beefs. It is entertaining. So I guess it is give and take, but yeah, that pass by Levi last year, I mean, I think other than Haiden Deegan fans were pretty happy about that.
AC, you made a good point, actually, and this is a little sidebar, but name a 450 Supercross champion that had a bunch of enemies. Like, I can't think of one.
Jason Anderson, maybe.
Yeah, I think if anything, Anderson probably had the most.
Yeah.
Multi-time,
not many, right?
Multi-time
not
450 champion, multi-time 450 champion that had a lot of enemies. It's very strategic. I mean, you know this, Cole.
Yeah.
It's not like I think Ken Roxon is great at it too. Like, everybody loves Kenny. Nobody messes with Kenny. Plessinger, these guys, like, having conversations in the tunnel or before opening ceremonies. Like, I've seen it firsthand. I mean, you kind of have to. You just don't want somebody, when you pass them and you need those points, you don't want somebody to be extra motivated to get back around you. You just don't want to make their life.
To answer JB's question too, I mean, I guess you could kind of put that on Cooper Webb a little bit with, finger guns at Kenny when he beat him there in Anaheim. But he's settled down a bit, and he's 3-time champion now. Last year we saw really good, fair racing between him and Sexton and the other guys. And yeah, I think, like I said earlier in the show, like, the 450 class, you're racing with men, and there's respect, and there's a camaraderie of some sorts, even if you're not really teammates or anything like that with other guys. but you respect them, you know the work's there, and you know that you're going to have to line up so many times throughout the year with the same exact guy. You don't get a break, and you're racing the full year instead of a shortened West Coast or East Coast Supercross stint for the 250 guys. So yeah, I think moving up to the 450 class, you're gonna have to learn that real quick, that you can't have that many enemies.
Well, and Jet's doing a good job of it now, right? Like no one really dislikes Jet other than just how good he is. That's the only reason you're going to dislike him, because he's a really cool kid with his helmet off. So on to the next, unless you guys have anything more on Kitchen. We're going to go to AC's guy next.
Oh, we're going Hammaker.
We're going Hammaker.
Oh, I love that.
On the 10, he's running the new 10. So I'm a fan as well.
I couldn't love it anymore. I couldn't love it anymore. And talking to Hammaker at media days, dude, that kid, I just like that kid, man. And what he was talking about, we talked about it a little bit last year on our show, Race Day Live, but him moving to Florida and basically betting the house, like, paying to ride at the dog pound, paying a practice guy, all, trainers, all this salary that you can save by being in California. He went to Florida, bet on himself. And I love how he told us, he was just like, whatever they want me to do, I'll do it. Like, if they want me to go do a 30+2 in my underwear, I'm going to do it. And I love the open-mindedness. I love the willingness to change and to get better, and that kind of win at all costs situation he's got going on. He was talking about doing figure eights on a pit bike, like Sunday after races, coming home and trying to get his elbows in the right spot or his feet in the right spot. And I just love that for somebody that has been through. He's been through a lot. I mean, he won a race in 2021, and he was kind of off the map for a couple of years with all these injuries and whatnot. And just to have somebody go through all that, come back and be the best version of himself, I don't know, man. He's got to stay healthy. But Cole, I think this kid is special. I mean, I think he could win the title.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly didn't know that many details about Seth before you'd mentioned that. But I mean, actions speak louder than words. Like, if you're gonna bet on yourself and move your whole life and uproot everything because you think that this is the best for your career, I think he probably knows. He's been on good equipment, and if he doesn't win a title, he doesn't start winning races, this is his time to shine. It's kind of make or break, right? Like, he's obviously, he comes off as kind of a humble kid, very talented, kind of a bulldog. Like,
oh yeah,
he just gets it done. So yeah, I mean, I mean, there's a long list of guys that this is the time to shine, but I think Seth is at the top of that list, and yeah, you kind of forget about him because, like, he's not like the most outgoing type of personality, and he starts winning, and you're like, oh yeah, this guy's really good. And yeah, from what we saw of him last year, it's his time. So let the gauge off and let's go.
Yeah, he's obviously more than capable. I was gutted for him at Salt Lake City last year. I think that was his championship. He straight up earned that one. But I said this to him at media days. It just I can't imagine, like, being in Seth's situation, and then you have an ego. You're an athlete. You're a racer. You're a race winner. You almost won the championship, and you're out there, like Adam mentioned, on a pit bike. You're probably making a couple $100,000 a year, and you put your ego completely aside, and you're going to absolutely listen to Dazzy, Darren Lawrence, Jet and Hunter's dad, and Michael Byrne, who is his trainer, and listen to anybody. Like, I think that says a lot about Seth as a human being, and it's why we're all fans of him. Is just, he's going to do whatever it takes, whenever, to get the job done and to get better. And to bet on himself, we covered it a lot this year, but I mean, literally spent all of his money. He said, like, he spent everything to make this switch, and it was kind of going to be a good decision or going to be a bust. So I love it. It's already paid off, huge dividends. He got a lot of bonus money. So he's got plenty of money in the bank now. And I think moving forward, now that he's been in that situation of being a championship guy and that pressure, he's totally used to it now. And I look for him to have a huge 2026, indoors and out. Look, we haven't mentioned too much about motocross, which we'll talk about later in the year, but there's not many guys on this list that we go down that can truly win indoors and out. Seth is one of them. He legit could win indoors and out, and he could win an SMX World Championship. So, yeah, big fan of Seth Hammaker, and the 10's going to look good. He's going to make it.
Oh, is it ever? Is it ever? Next guy who is basically related to you at this point, Justin. Is this the year? And it's, as Cole said, you go down this list of guys and it's really hard. I mean, I feel like everybody we've talked about so far, we're like, they can win. And it's all true. I mean, it's cliche, but it's true. Cameron Mcadoo, dude. I mean, what a highlight reel career he has had so far. He, in training with him, getting a chance to train with him for a few years, the guy does not cut one single corner. The diet's perfect. The training's perfect. The rehab's perfect. The guy does everything right. Justin, nobody would know better than you. What does Cameron Mcadoo have to change to translate his obvious talent, work ethic to being a champion and winning races? He's been close. He's had the red plate. He's as tough as they come, dude. He can take a hit and get up, ride with anything, broken hand, wrists, whatever. What's he got to do? What's got to change?
Well, we've mentioned it a few times with certain guys that have tons of skills, but maybe not enough belief. Cameron has all the belief in the world, but then the skill set needs to match that belief. And I think Nick Way has done a great job with him working on, you trained with him as well, Adam. I think Nick's done, leaps and bounds for Cameron's career. And now I just think it's time. I think there's certain things in racing and in life that sometimes things just go your way and sometimes they don't. And Cameron, I was looking at a stat the other day. I think Racer X put it up. Cameron's podium percentage is crazy.
It is.
Like when you look at how many podiums he has each and every year. I mean, he was riding with one leg this year at Tampa, tore his ACL, and he still got on the podium at round one. We forget that, And then obviously he had a crash in Detroit, ultimately went and got his leg fixed, and I believe right after Daytona. So he's got all the belief in the world. It is time to go. It's like Cole said, there's so many guys on this list that it's time. It's time for him to get it done. And when I mean get it done, it's win a championship. And that's what he's capable of. That's what he believes he can do. That's what the team believes he can do. And the one thing that I'll say about Cameron is I love the connection that he has to his team. Like Mitch has tons of belief and Kawasaki has tons of belief in Cameron, and Cameron has tons of belief in them. And I think that with their bike being better, from what Levi was saying, I think their bike needed to be just that little bit better. I think with that, I think all these guys, from Hammaker to Kitchen, Mcadoo, Adams, obviously maybe not a title contender, but a podium guy. They all have the chance to do it. And, I think everyone in the industry would love to see Cameron get it done. You talk about a highlight reel. Imagine that championship celebration of a highlight reel of all these things that have gone wrong and went well, and then he wins a championship. I'd love to see it. He's got a kid on the way. We'll see if that helps at all. Cole knows what that is like. That helped me personally. But we'll see. Big fan of Cam. People know that. And Iowa boy, and it's time for him to get it done.
Yeah, I think to kind of go off what you're saying, JB, like the belief he has and the amount of effort that he puts in is probably second to none. I think he needs to focus on his skill set and building that, because I feel like he believes so much in himself that he turns it up to 11, rides over his head quite a few times. I think most of us, when we think of Cameron, we think of a crash that he had, but there's skill there. He's obviously a talented racer. He's done really well in his career, in the good parts of it. So I think if I was Cameron this offseason, I'd be focusing on technique, corners, downside jumps, just hitting my marks. And I think that's kind of where he strays. He might get a little offline and maybe take a risk that he doesn't need to take instead of, just trying to pick up the rest of the race. But yeah, I think just the skill set, maybe a little bit of racecraft here and there. I think Cameron can be the whole package.
It's just hard to make the right decision. And we talk about this with Jet a lot. It's hard to make the right decision in the heat of the moment consistently, because you could go 5 races in a row making every right decision. Things could work out, could not work out for you. But then you get in a battle, somebody passes you in the whoops that you never thought would pass you, and next thing you know, you're clicking fifth and wheeling 3 whoops in the next lap, and it goes bad. So it only takes one bad decision to put you on the ground. But I don't know. I think for Cameron, it could click or it could not. But I can tell you, he does everything. He does everything the right way. And so I would love to see that get rewarded with wins, a title, something. I think that would be a cool story. What do we think about Drew Adams? I think the first time I ever saw him ride was that Octane Media. I don't know. He had some video basically like a mixtape of him doing knack whips and stuff on a 250 at like 14 years old. So that was my first impression of him. I'd never heard of him before, really, but he was unbelievable. He's clearly insanely good on a bike. My only problem with Drew, and it's not really a massive issue, but he's like 6'2" all of a sudden, like 6'2", 190. Like that to me, he's like one of those guys that could end up on a 450 in his third year or something with where he's at right now. So I do love to hear that PC got a new engine package. But can Drew Adams say he is as talented as we all think he is? Being that big, is he going to be able to battle for titles being that big? Has that ever happened?
Well, you of all people shouldn't not like the height. I remember seeing photos of you, like, I think it was Redbud, just off the back, fender bent down to the rear tire, too tall, just... Yeah, no, but you're right. Drew is like obviously has the talent. He's got the bike skill. We know that through his whips. He's obviously very comfortable on the motorcycle.
Naturally.
But I don't know. I don't know if I should say I expected more out of him last year. I don't know. Like he's got so much skill. Maybe it's confidence thing. I don't know him. I never talked to him. But yeah, I mean, sophomore year always goes a little better than the rookie year. So I mean, the list keeps growing. Like one of these guys is gonna have to get 6th and 7th. Like,
yeah, for real.
Like, but I think it's more of a focus on like there's a list of guys that are the championship contenders, and then there's a list of guys that they might not be in the championship hunt, but they're potential podium guys, and I think Adams falls on that list.
Yeah, 2 things there. Travis Preston won a Supercross title on a CR 125.
True.
CR 125.
Yeah, that's crazy.
For Drew, it's just all down to starts, man. I think it's so simple. Like Cole was mentioning earlier on one of the guys, I think Nate Thrasher. It's the same thing for Drew. Like, can he get off the gate? He's got as much skill as anyone. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is can that bike pull him to a good start? And I'd love to put these guys on a scale because when he's saying, 185 or 190 or I remember Marchbanks was saying like 175. There was another guy we were asking, was it Benny Bloss? AC we're asking, and he's like, I forget what he said, but I just wish we had a scale there because I feel like Drew Adams is maybe bigger than what he says, weight-wise.
Yeah, I was tall, but you guys know me. I was always pretty like lanky and skinny. Like Drew is like a straight up. He's got a tight end body of a 32-year-old tight Travis Kelce on a PD 250. So, but I agree with Cole. I think I expected to see some more flashes of that crazy ability. So I think this is I really do think for as far as the second year riders go, I think this is a huge year for Drew. He was not terrible. We weren't like, what is he doing? But I think we all kind of expected a little bit more. So I don't know. I don't know how good he can be. He was beating Cole Davies a couple years ago. So
that's the thing I was going to say too. Is I actually asked him this on media days. Like, did it bum him out to see Cole Davies do what he was doing? Because 12 months before that, he was beating Cole Davies almost at will. So and then the other thing is, I bet if we look back, we get Clinton Fowler on this if we were on Race Day Live. But he qualified well multiple times. Like I remember seeing him top 3 on the board multiple times, or top 5 for sure. and then the race you wouldn't see him. It's just simply starts,
Mm-hmm.
like track position.
Yeah.
So I think
because when you'd see him qualify good, you weren't surprised.
Exactly.
Like, you're like, oh man, how did he pull that fast lap off? Maybe he found a new rhythm. Like, he's got the skill and the speed. But yeah, it might be, maybe it is a weight thing. But I was teammates with Malcolm Stewart on 250s.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was on the same equipment, and he was still fast. Like, and that was before Malcolm was as fit as he is now. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, to get a start, and there's something about that kind of category of like Adams and Thrasher where when they're up front, they kind of let the pack determine how fast they're gonna go. Like, oh, these guys are going fast, I'm gonna go fast. And when they're in the back, they kind of do the same thing where they need to be the guys that are like, no, I'm gonna determine my own pace and my own race. Like, I got to make some passes and get to the front. And both those guys have the skill to do it.
Little sidebar, but a lot of the guys we talked to at media days, guys that had a breakthrough ride last year, or they talked about how much easier it feels when you get a good start and you're in the kind of top 5, top 7, compared to being in the pack, being 12th, 13th. And I don't know why that is, guys, but I agree with that. And I imagine you guys do too. I mean, there are races that I have battled for 11th the entire time in 30+2 or 20+1.
And it's harder. It's harder to do that than battle in the podium.
Yeah, it feels like you're battling for a championship. Like, why is that? Why are we like this?
Yeah, I don't know. But then you have guys like Deegan that can start in 20th and out race and make their way to the front. Yeah, it's, I don't know. We're all mental cases, and all we're doing is riding dirt bikes.
Pretty much.
Well, I think it's simply, for me, it was simply this. If, like at a test track, I could go as fast as anyone because it's a 6-inch line. So everyone's going in the same line. Where when I would get a good start in a Supercross, I feel like I could go with most people because you're going in that one line, the fast line. Where, to your point, Cole, guys like Haiden Deegan or Jet Lawrence, they can take any line on the track and be as faster than anyone. Like, I personally couldn't do that. I had to take the fast line to be fast. I couldn't go in separate lines in corners and stuff. So I think it's just that, like,
that's good
point. Like, you just fall into that trap of whatever line they're taking. Then you try to take different lines, and it's a half a second in one turn, a half a second in the whoops because you're taking a line you don't want to take. When you get a good start, you take the fast line that you've taken all day, and it just seems so easy.
Yeah, I struggled with that for a little bit. Then Rich would go hide around the Supercross track with a cone and throw the cone in the line that I'm not allowed to take anymore.
Yeah,
that's how I got over that.
Yeah, I also think there's also we're on a sidebar here. We're going to move on to Triumph. We're going to move on here shortly, but I think there's also something to racing guys like maybe somebody like Thrasher is a great example. When you're back there, it's so easy to kind of toggle between racing in front of you and racing behind you. You hear somebody revving their bike, you got to protect the inside, and for half a lap, you're thinking about letting the guy in 13th, trying to keep him behind you. And then you're not racing forward, then you got to go back to that. So I don't know.
And you're a factory guy. You're supposed to be up there battling for wins. Yeah. The heart rate's spiking. You're taking risks that you don't want to take and going slower than you should be. Yeah, it's a lot of variables.
The privateer in 13th will do anything to pass you as a factory guy. So he's going the half a lap that he's going for you. He's going as fast as he's ever went in his life.
Yeah, and he's showing up at your truck later that night asking for your ride.
Yeah, hey, that happened to me. That happened to me, guys. That happened. I'm not going to bring it up again, but maybe you know what I'm talking about. I got T-boned for 12th.
You did get T-boned.
Triumph. Okay, let's just start. Forkner, he's on a 450?
Is he?
Yeah.
I thought he was racing some 450, not.
The latest news I've heard is that we're gung-ho on the 450 all year. Like that is the plan. It could change, say it doesn't go good. I think the smartest play would be to race some 450 rounds.
I was gonna say I was actually kind of excited to get to his name. I didn't know that, but I was I don't know Austin, but I was very proud of him last year. I saw it at a UAC in I think either your last or second to last year racing, where I was like, you just need to build a foundation. Like, you got the speed. He had the speed last year, but when things didn't go his way, he wasn't upset about it. He didn't let it show on the bike. and he just kind of waited for his time to attack and put in his results. But he didn't have very many good results, but like he was out there to build a foundation. It was a rebuild year. So I was excited to see him line up on the 250 again, which I don't know if that's the plan or not, but with this new almost like rebrand of Austin Forkner, hey, I got this foundation under me. I got a ton of races under my belt. I didn't get hurt. And just to kind of see that come to fruition next year of like, I have confidence now. I know I'm supposed to be here. Let's turn the volume up a little bit, go a little faster, take a little more risks, and kind of get back to where we expected Austin to be, maybe in his rookie year when he was going for the title.
Yeah, I don't know the 450 thing. I mean, look, I think for Austin, you just think about his trajectory. We talk about it a lot, but I mean, he was beating Chase Sexton, no problem in the 250 class, was on his way to several championships, and just things didn't go his way. He made this big switch to Triumph. I agree with you, Cole. He was building the foundation, and on paper, honestly, wasn't a great year this year, but there was multiple times when AC and I were talking about him in qualifying top 3, qualifying top 5. And after the start he had where he was like 13th, 14th, multiple weeks, we started to see that like getting more comfortable with the bike, getting more belief in him. And then I'll say one of the most difficult things for any rider is like, we talk about these guys having to stay healthy for the year. Like, what's the playbook to that? I mean, we've all been there, but like, it's so difficult because if you're riding to your capability and riding off instincts, that's when you ride your best. And usually things don't go wrong, that many times. But then if you're riding a little bit cautious, we've all been there where we last 2 laps of a moto at the test track, we take a few % off and then we crash. We have some dumb crash. And so for Austin to make it through the year after vocally saying that, like, he just needs some laps, he just needs to stay healthy. I mean, multiple times the Triumph team was saying that, hey, we're rebuilding Austin. And he was able to do that. So I don't know if it's a good move to go 450. I'm kind of whatever on it.
Yeah.
But to race some 450s would be cool. But I think he can still compete for wins on the East. I really do. I think he's got a win left in him.
Here's my thing. And this is I think that, oh gosh, we say this about everybody. Sorry to our audience, but he does have the potential to win races on a 250. Right now, he does not have the potential to like win races or get top 5 in the 450 class. No, right? No. You agree with that? And so at my point right now is after last year, yes, it was a good building year. It was a good building year. We had some flashes. I don't think anybody's given up on him. I think he was very intentional, had that injury in the playoffs. But now this is like the ultimate test of being smart. And just what you were talking about, JB, what's the template? Well, you get thrown out there in the 450 class at A1, and you guys have seen that entry list. I mean, it's insane. And so how hard would it be to remain within yourself? It's a little easier when you're on a 250, you're on the East Coast or the West Coast, and at least in his head going to the gate, he's probably like literally the worst I can do tonight is 8th. Where on a 450, I mean, you could literally
you might not make the main
event.
Yeah, and that's a confidence killer.
Exactly. And so at this point in his kind of, I would call it a redevelopment, I don't know how it will work. I don't know how it'll work out. I think that Triumph needed somebody on a 450, and Jordan Smith's shoulder was worse than he thought, so he's not able to make the start of it. So I'm not sure about it. My hope for Austin is that he can go out there and keep the same mentality he had last year of like, I go there, I do what I do, but my focus is on a 250, right? And not let it burst his bubble.
Yeah, I was thinking when that was said that he was going to race maybe West Coast and then during the East Coast stint hop on the 450 a couple of times, which I don't see a problem with that. But
you did that pretty well.
Yeah, I did that a few times, and it mostly worked out to my favor. You gain a little confidence. By that time of the year, some of the main 450 guys are hurt. The class isn't as thick, but yeah, to go line up at A1 on a 450 and coming off injury, it's gonna hinder everything that he worked for last year. and kind of bring him, I feel like it's going to be 2 or 3 steps backwards in his career. And I think if it's Triumph pushing him to do that, then he's got to kind of put his foot down and be like, hey guys, this is my career. Like, this is my focus. This is my game plan. If you're getting, I don't know, somebody high up at Triumph is not the happiest because there isn't a 450 on the track, then that's not his fault. He needs to focus on himself. Obviously, he needs the team there to back him, but his goal should be line up West Coast or East Coast on a 250, build on what he did last year, maybe hop in some 450 rounds, get some experience and possibly some confidence from that. But A1's not the place to experiment with a 450.
A1's not it. I like
no,
that.
It's not it.
It's not, man. It's just not, because what's the upside? 15th?
Yeah.
Like
there's legitimately
A1,
22 guys lining up this year that are insanely talented. Probably the deepest pack we've ever had of potential race winners. And with that, there's going to be some good guys that don't make the main event. Like we saw it with Hunter Lawrence in the opening round. Like he didn't make the main event. Like it's a rookie building year for him. But for Austin, he's in a place in his career where he just rebuilt. Let's show what he rebuilt this year.
Yeah, and also a bike that's never been on a Supercross track on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Not once. Not one time. The Triumph 450.
And a guy that's never ridden a 450 or raced a 450. Like there's no doubt of that.
Funny. You know what's funny is how when we'll do our 450 preview show here sometime probably after the holidays, Justin. But what's crazy is in both classes, how many guys do we look at and we're like, yeah, we can see them being like a 5 to 10 guy. What, 20 people?
More than 5 or 10.
20 people?
I know. I do this every time. I think it's because we're in the position where as racers, we know what it's like to get criticism and we don't want to be the ones giving criticism. So everything's positive, but it's hard. I mean, there's a lot of talent and there's a lot of potential out there.
I think we just want to see the best in the riders.
But only 3 guys can get on the podium. Only 10 guys can get in the top 10. Like,
anyway, okay. So let's say this. We'll move on. We'll move on. This show is supposed to be like an hour, JB. We're blowing it. What is best case scenario? Forkner races. Say he races the West Coast on a 450 and then goes 250 for East Coast. What is Austin Forkner being successful on a 450 look like?
I mean, getting to the East Coast to race a 250.
That's it.
That's it. You just got to get there. But the hard part is, like Cole said, in order to get there, an upside for you. I mean, if you just absolutely crush a main event and you get 12th in the 450 class, dude, you still don't feel that good about it.
Yeah.
There wasn't one time I felt good about an 11th or a 12th. Like, you just don't, no matter how good it was. Like, down the first turn, doesn't matter. You lose all your gears but first, you still get 12th. Like, you don't feel good about it. So I don't think there's that much upside other than Triumph having a motorcycle on the track. I like it flipped, like Cole said. You start on the West, you do 450 East, because you can always line up on Daytona, tracks like that. So, yeah, I don't know, man. What do you think, Adam? What's the upside? Is there any?
Well, I do think that he is still that extremely talented rider that we saw in 2018, 2019. So I think the upside is maybe because he has really gone through a significant like personal transformation behind the scenes. As Cole said, a lot of the stuff last year when he did really bad, it didn't bother him. And I really think it genuinely didn't bother him. So I don't know. I think maybe he's been through enough where all the expectation, all the weight of it all is just gone. And he goes out there and just has a blast on a 450 and ends up, I don't know, winning a heat race or leading the heat race for a few laps and getting fourth. And everybody's like, wow, look at what Forkner can do. Really, you only need, say, races 5 races. You need 3 of those moments for it to be a success. He's just got to have moments where it's like, oh, that guy he could be a 450 guy someday. The worst thing that could happen is there's no flashes whatsoever. And, your value at that point takes a hit when teams are looking at you for the next level. So really, he just has enough to show the flashes and keep, stay on the motorcycle, of course.
Yeah, I think the main problem with it is it's so contradictory to what he did last year. Like, we're building. Let's continue on that trajectory.
I hate when you just use logic in these arguments. It's really
Sorry,
off-putting.
I think a lot.
It's really off-putting.
The one thing though that could be a positive is there is a big changing of the guard coming, and if he can do good in a heat race, get a heat win or lead some laps in 2 or 3 years from now, maybe that does get him a full-time 450 ride, and he has more experience than some of these other kids moving up. So but other than that, man, I don't know. This is going to be tough.
Let's breeze through these next couple here. We got Jordan Smith and Jalek Swoll. Jalek, do we know what exactly he injured? Did he re-tear his Achilles?
I think so.
I think he did. That's what I heard. I don't know if that ever came out, but I heard he did a full Achilles deal. So I heard he just got back on Supercross, so we're thinking he's probably East.
I would believe so. Yep. He's underrated, man.
Yeah, he is.
You think?
Yeah.
I think people know how good he is.
I ate my words this summer, remember?
No, I don't.
On the podcast? Said, what was it? I forget exactly, but somebody couldn't win or get on the podium. Like 2 weeks later, he got on the podium.
Oh, Red.
Oh, yeah, you did eat your words on that one.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. But he's that good, man. He could show up anytime, anywhere. And we talk about these guys like Nate Thrasher just needing starts. Jalek can start, dude. That's his biggest attribute as a racer. He puts himself in good positions. And then when he's in that moment, he's not scared of that moment. That's his biggest strength, I think, is he's got a lot of confidence and he gets good starts.
I think
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cole.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, I think he is underrated. Like, every time he's somebody that I kind of tend to forget about until he's lined up, and then you see a flash of brilliance, you're like, man, this kid is so good. Like, if he can just put the puzzle pieces together and just be there every race, he's got potential for multiple podiums this year.
He's that guy this year where it's like kind of like Pierce Brown. Get through the year, and you have to race enough races in a row, have a good off season to really go in and contend for a championship. And I'm not quite sure he's a guy that can come off an injury and then go right into Supercross and be a title threat. I think he needs to build into that. So I think it's the same type of kind of rebuilding mindset for him. The only thing that I would say, just from the outside looking in, that I would want to see improved a little bit. He's kind of a smaller guy. I think there's times on the bike where he looks like he could use a little more strength to kind of manhandle the bike around a bit. To me, I think if he did put on a little muscle, I think he could add a couple points to his overall ceiling, and I think he can help him get out of some tight spots, because no matter how good you are, you could have Justin Brayton and Cole Seeley technique in the whoops. That thing's still going to buck around on you every once in a while. So I think he could get maybe a little stronger. But yeah,
I don't even know if it's strength or the way he sets up his bike, his rider triangle. Same with Forkner. These guys are in such a weak. Yeah, I don't like it. It's like too low and way too far back, and their elbows are a little bit down. There's just not much strength there. You know what I mean? You watch a guy like really anybody that's super good technically, Chase or Jed or Kenny, like they're up, like they're in like a push-up position. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where Forkner and Swoll are like a little bit down. There's just not a lot of strength there. So when they get in these tight spots, Adam, you and I talked a lot about Forkner's position. You know, we were pretty public about it too. Like just really low bars, kind of back towards him. And I think he did some bar risers or something, but I just think it's underrated on where your elbow, similar to Hammaker, what we're just talking about, Seth Hammaker, he had to retrain his brain on where to put his elbows and his hand position. I feel like those two guys in particular, and I don't know if it's the Triumph rider triangle, but I do believe there's something there that they've got to get in a little stronger position on the bike.
And that's something I forgot to say about Hammaker, is he told us that he uses his index finger on both sides now for his clutch and his brake. Since he went to the dog pound, that's what he had him do. And you know the Lawrence brothers, I'm sure you know this too, Cole, how they push their levers all the way in. So they're basically grabbing at the end of the lever. this is going to be a thing that this is going to ripple through an entire generation. We're going to have guys pushing their leverage forever.
Speaking of the generation, I feel like those guys that you mentioned with the kind of the odd bike setups, I feel like, I mean, it's a little bit off course, but there's like almost like a trend in that generation to like how your bike looks aesthetically. Like, oh, it looks cool with low bars and it looks cool like this and that. And it doesn't work. Like like I remember JB, you and I, when we were on Hondas, one of the chassis, it worked good and it felt good with a higher bar bend and might not have looked as cool, but like it was trendy to run a low bar. And I was like, I told Rich, put the low bars on my bike. I want to try them. And went out and did like 2 laps. Like, this sucks. Put my high bars back on. So yeah, I mean, there's a science behind it, and certain bikes don't like the low hunched over riding style, and it looks like the Triumph's that way, where you need a good neutral upright riding position.
Time for some 997s, couple spacers on there. Give them the number 9 spec.
Take the Carmichaels off and put the Wyndhams on.
No, straight up.
996. 996.
Yeah,
that might be the headline of this video, Cole. I like that's kind of a bar. All right, I have. It's a desperate time for our next rider on the list here. Factory Honda. So still a lot of belief, but I'm nervous. I'm nervous, dude. I'm really nervous. And I love this
You've been
kid.
nervous
He's
for
awesome.
a while.
Chance Hymas. So Chance was riding with his teammates, Lawrence Brothers, Dog Pound, whole deal with Hammaker last year. And now he left. He left, and I believe he's doing a lot of his training in Nevada, Mesquite, of all places. I did a World Mini there, I think, in 2010 or something. I don't know about that. Of course, I don't know the ins and outs of him. And if I was him and I heard myself say that, I would probably be pissed off. And, he'd probably be thinking, dude, you have no idea, like, my experience. I get that. I get that point too. But I don't know. To me, and this is why I don't know it. Honda clearly believes in what they have going on down there. Like with the Lawrence Brothers. I mean, they're the flagship Honda guys. And so having Chance be a part of that program, they know that it works. Chance leaving at this point and going and doing his own thing, where he's still really yet to prove himself in Supercross. We know he is elite outdoors. Won a mud race in Supercross last year, but still has some work to do. I don't know. He's going to have to prove. I think he's going to have to prove a lot to the team that can work, and I think that puts more pressure on him. I do. The only thing that I will counterpoint myself in saying that Honda is really good, from what I've seen with their guys, of making them feel supported. And, sometimes you have team managers that treat everybody the same. It seems like Lars knows how to deal with all the different personalities and whatnot. We always talk about how they're rowing in the same direction. So, I mean, that could kind of mitigate some of that. But I don't know. This move at this time, to me, not sold on it, fellas.
Yeah, he came in last year. I believe he only had like 5 days on the bike, right? Before
something crazy,
yeah. So, I mean, I think like this is the time to go. I mean, we said that all the time, but like this is the time to prove himself, because from what I know, he's healthy. Probably had a great off season. But yeah, I didn't know about the transition from the Dog Pound elsewhere, so I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I think riding with others, kind of like what we did in Florida, and JB, what you and I did in North Carolina, there's so many benefits to that, especially if the guys are faster than you. And so that might change day to day, but no matter what, like, you're lining up with somebody and you have somebody to compare yourself and somebody to push you, and you're pushing somebody else. And there's so much growth in that whole process that getting away from that, and you're like Jet and Hunter Lawrence, like where are you going to learn anything better? You can't. So yeah, I wouldn't say I agree with that either, but I like Chance. I like, the Honda team is like family to me. His mechanic Tommy Harris is one of my good friends, so I'm always cheering for Chance. I expect and hope to see a lot out of him this year.
Oh, Tommy's a big Sealy guy.
Yeah, I
Big
love
Sealy
Tommy.
guy. Yeah, Tommy's great. Man, I'm gonna counter. I like it.
Oh, I knew it.
I like it.
I
Oh,
knew it. You
man.
like
I like
it.
this
That's
move.
crazy.
Yeah, I like this move, and here's why. Here's why I like it. My knee-jerk reaction was exactly what you said, AC. Was exactly that. Here's why I like it. Because all of our personalities are a little bit different. And I think he has, and what we love most about the Hammaker story is the gambling on himself and betting on himself. Hymas has done this exact same thing in a little bit different way, but he's going to go down there and he's going to get to ride. He's riding at the dog pound, I believe now, the last several weeks. So he's riding with these guys every day. So he knows the level.
Okay.
Now he goes and rides in
That's
Nevada
helpful.
on his own, and he's going to get that space, that like the mental space of having to relax a little bit, because I was probably similar to Chance, and I feel like Cole, maybe you were as well. We're like that constant grind every day of being on the clock is just like, it's overbearing. And then imagine being on the clock against your main competitor who's now winning on the East Coast, which is Hammaker, who just came to the dog pound, and now you're as fast or faster than him during the week sometimes, and then he's winning every weekend and in title contention. And then you have these two brothers, Jet and Hunter, that are unbelievable. Like they're almost superhuman. So it can just be demoralizing, like every day, like constant. You just feel like it's on top of you, just smothering you every day. And I don't think Chance liked that. I mean, he went back to where he grew up, and I believe it was the next week or the week after, like he immediately won. I think it was Lakewood. And that proved to me that, like, okay, he's okay with knowing the level, knowing how he needs to feel on the motorcycle, but he needs a little space. He hasn't been home since he was like 16, you know? So I don't know. I just think everyone's different. He's betting on himself. And in the back of my mind, I've said this a couple times to some people, that I really believe that it's, and I think both their contracts are up, Hymas and Hammaker. I mean, it's no secret that Honda loves the dog pound, and Honda loves guys like Chance. They also love guys like Hammaker. And I could be speaking totally out of turn. This is just pure fan, no bias, no nothing, no inside intel at all. Is like, if I'm Chance, I'm thinking, man, Hammaker is like, he's going for my ride, and he's down there. So like, I need to change something so I can be the best version of myself. So I don't know. I think it's okay, but if it doesn't work, it's a huge miss. Like, I don't think he gets re-signed. I think but if it does work, we're going to be talking about him like we talk about Hammaker right now.
You know, I hate to call you right, JB. I really hate it with that old man grandpa wisdom of yours. But while you were on your rant there, it reminded me of a situation that I don't think I've ever spoken about publicly. But in 2015, I was riding in isolation. I had Trey Kennard coming out every now and then, who was very good with me, with, you know, letting me do my laps with him. And then we had ET on the team also, Tomac, and he was quite a bit faster than us most of the time at the test track. And I remember the week before Las Vegas Supercross, Eli had just come out for a private test day, so I couldn't come out. And he knew, because he had just signed a Cowie, that was his last time at the Honda test track. So I don't know why, but Eli sharpied in the little concrete pad his fastest lap time for the day, which was faster than anybody's ever done on the track. And then I got to come out the next day, and I saw that, and it made me so mad. But I was riding by myself in isolation, so I had this benchmark in my mind of where I needed to be, and I beat the lap time 3 times in a moto, and mostly because of Rich. But yeah, there is, I don't know, if you're, like you said, like, we all have our own personalities, but if you have the right personality to ride in that isolation with a goal in mind, so if he has that in his toolbox to go out and ride with the Lawrences and Hammaker at a dog pound, and then bring that home, that could be a huge, like, beneficiary for him. But he needs that in his toolbox. He needs to be able to ride with other guys, have a benchmark, and then be in isolation with that, and he can use that to his advantage for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm out, guys. No, I do. I'm kind of being funny. I like Hymas.
No.
I like Hymas, but in general, no matter where he's riding, what he's doing, he's got to be better in Supercross. He didn't have much of a chance last year being hurt, but now is the year to show it. He doesn't need to win a title. He doesn't need to win all the races, but he's got to show that same elite speed he has outdoors. Now, if it was the other way around, and he's already been elite Supercross and hasn't been that great outdoors, then I really wouldn't be that concerned. But you just have to be elite at Supercross these days to be a factory guy at the next level. So he's got to show me that. He's got to show me that.
He needs 4 or 5 podiums.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't, if he gets 4 or 5 podiums, he's re-signed. He's got a 2-year deal. Yeah.
All right.
He's
so
all good. Shout out Joe Shimoda though, his teammate.
Yeah.
Bummer. Not going to be at any Supercross. He took a huge leap up. SMX world champ. We're all fans of Joe.
It was cool.
Hopefully see him in motocross.
I saw he just got an award from the Japanese Prime Minister. I thought that was super.
Yeah,
that's
super cool.
Yeah, it was a bummer this year with Joe. Like, he's typically the guy that comes out and kind of like works his way into his speed. And last year we saw the opposite. He was fast at A1 and won, right? Pretty sure. Yeah. Won. And then obviously that unfortunate incident at San Diego, like I was on the Joe train. Like, he was the guy to beat that year until that, pit board incident. He was the guy with the target on his back, because we had never seen that before. We never saw him come out swinging. Usually he's the guy that shows up the last 3 rounds of outdoors winning stuff. And then we kind of expect more of him the next year.
Yeah. Joe's one of the guys that is, there really isn't a lot of guys in the 250 class that have been as good Supercross as they are motocross, or vice versa. There really isn't a lot of guys that are really, really good at both. And I don't know, Joe, I tell you guys, Joe used to tell me he's going to retire by like 27, like go back to Japan.
Really?
So he's got a lot of work to do before then. He doesn't have that much time left, so he needs to get moving. But no, I love Joe. He's a buddy of mine. Little biased. Not really, actually. And JB, I think I do a pretty good job of not being biased. Like, I feel like almost I call my friends out more than anyone.
Well, that's what I was thinking too, is because you obviously, like, we talk about Joe a lot, or even for me with like Anstie, we're almost harder on our good friends.
Yeah, totally.
Right? We're almost harder on them.
Gotta be.
Yeah, it's probably not.
But I think, I think Joe is primed to take over this class in 2027. I think he comes back at whatever point he does in the year, and probably starts off pretty slow, eventually gets back to the point where, I don't know, maybe just doing outdoors, maybe he can still make a run in the playoffs and win the whole deal again. But it'll be interesting to see who kind of separates themselves this year for going into 27. Like, it's going to be Joe versus who? Kitchen, Swoll, Forkner, I don't know, somebody. Rockstar Husky. Who are you most excited about on that team, Justin?
Big Ryder D guy.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's a big year for him. We're going to say it for the 114th time. It's a big year for one of these guys,
Huge.
and it's a big year for Ryder D. I think for several reasons, but I think to start the year this year, he was really, really good. A couple top 5s, was up front. It's kind of the year that he needed to do that, got injured. But when I watch him ride, I just see a guy that has the ceiling of anyone in this 250 class. We talked about Kitchen. Like, he has that level of skill. We haven't seen it yet. And I think there's been a period, which, Adam, you could probably speak to this better than any of us. But, well, for sure you can, because me and Cole didn't have our, we didn't win 100 Loretta Lynn's championships. So coming off of such a successful amateur career like Ryder D did, and then you get to the pros, and he actually mentioned it to you, Adam, like,
you get smacked
you were
in the
able to
mouth.
win your first Supercross. What?
You get smacked in the mouth, kicked in the throat.
Yeah.
Didn't you win your first race, dude? You don't know what that's like.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah, whatever. Go ahead, JB.
Yeah. So I just think that transition was probably more difficult than he thought, which is normal. And now he's just finding what works for him. Sounds like he's working with Millsaps on the bike again, which is great. He's made some friendship and riding with Jorge Prado a lot during the week. Was riding with Juju a lot last year. I think that was hugely beneficial to his program, and it was showing. And I just think it's a big year for him. I think he can win a race. I think he needs to be on the podium multiple times. He needs to win a couple heat races. And I think he's highly capable of doing that. He's got a great group around him with Nathan Ramsey as a team manager. Big fan of Nate Dogg I am. I think he's good for the rider and the human being side of being a rider. So I think sky's the limit for Ryder D. Not a championship. I don't think he's that guy yet, but I think it's a building year into being a championship title contender in 27.
I will say this. He is a guy, and the biggest strength that he has is that he did win a lot as an amateur. And if you win a lot as an amateur and then you come in and you don't do well right away in the pros, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to learn how to lose. You're just not used to it. And it's mentally it takes a toll. It's just different. You have to get used to it, and you kind of have to almost start over again in a way. And he's another guy that gets great starts. And he's a guy that probably when he turned pro and wasn't the fastest guy and wasn't getting all the starts, you have to learn how to race the guys too. I mean, how many times as an amateur did you just get the whole shot, never see anybody the whole time? He to me is a guy that once the skill set and everything, once it all comes back around, if he does find that level, he's a guy that's going to get in the lead, not see anybody in front of him, and he is not going to panic because all the muscle memory you have when you're a kid, man. Like going into my first Supercross season, I had my teammates like down on the track with me, trying to get me to go through the whoops, like trying to help me get to the end of the whoop section. And then the next week I went and I beat them. I just got a start. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I guess this is just normal. So that's really, I think, what can happen for him. And there are a lot of guys that possess the skill to go out there and get the whole shot and to be up front, at least for a few laps, that have absolutely no idea what to do when they get there. And that will never be him. So can he be fit enough, healthy enough to put himself in that position again? I don't know. But I do know if he is able to do that, having that experience of winning races is going to help him a tremendous amount.
Yeah. It's seeing what we saw last year, I think was good in the way, like you're saying, like you see these kids come up. He's one of the prodigies.
Yeah,
like
definitely
won all the time. Maybe he had more expectations, maybe more than even we had of him, but your identity as an amateur is winning, like getting out front, winning, checking out, kind of like you said. And then you get to the pros. I mean, I was good at losing when I turned pro. I had plenty of practice at it. Wow. He didn't have very much practice at losing and building on your losses. I think last year we saw flashes of brilliance, like kind of what we expected when he turned pro. And maybe he's just kind of rediscovering his identity as like, hey, this is the pros. These are the best of the best. I need to focus on those moments of brilliance and build on those rather than focus on like, what am I doing back here battling for 6th or 10th or whatever it may be. But yeah, I think each individual has their own like challenges and goals that need to be met. And I think if he just focuses on what he did last year in the moments of brilliance and build on just those things and check some boxes going into this year, focus on getting on the podium, focus on being more consistent. I mean, he's got it in him. He's clearly talented. And we say that about everybody, but what were you saying?
What's crazy looking at this lineup, Justin, is they're kind of all the same guy. Yeah. Bennick, Cochran, and Ryder D. I mean, I've never seen such a similar backstory. Like they're all kind of the same type of way where they won a lot as an amateur, had a whole lot of talent. They've been hurt a lot, but there's so much potential there. They're still young. I mean, this team, this is like an interesting lineup here.
But I was going to say, did we skip over Styles with Triumph? Because he's kind of in that category too, right?
He's just a test rider now. He's done racing.
Oh, he's just he's done.
Dude,
I didn't know that. I saw a video of him ripping the Supercross track. I was like, he's gonna be good this year, but apparently not.
Yeah, I saw
Sorry.
the
I
same
guess I'm not
video.
as in the industry as I thought.
No, there's something. I think it's something with his wrist that's like permanently messed up. Where we were talking to Scuba at media days, and he said that he still rips for a few laps, but the wrist starts to bother him after a few laps,
Okay.
which that gives me PTSD.
Hey, one thing we didn't mention about Triumph that we're all, I'm sure, well, I know you are a big fan of AC, is Ivan Tedesco as the assistant team manager. That's a big move. I like that. Big fan of Ivan. I think he's going to move the needle tremendously for that group of guys. So that'll be fun to watch.
Talk about the guy that knows how to set the motorcycle up, Cole. That guy's smart.
Yeah, I think Triumph just needs the data, like the like a guy with Ivan, like he's obviously won a ton of races, done really well, even on teams that weren't factory teams. And Triumph being a new team, they need experience behind their, in the background.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the rest of Husky, we don't have too much longer to go here. We're at an hour and 50, only 50 minutes over what we thought. JB, we gotta, dude. What are we doing, man? What are we doing?
Good content though. Good content.
Bennick, what's a successful year for Bennick?
Oh man, I mean, dude, similar to some of these other guys, like I just think you got to be there every week, and the results will take care of themselves. I mean, he's been on the podium opening round the last 2 years, and then it just falls off. And then motocross, kind of the same thing, falls off. I just think he needs to be there. Needs to be there for every gate drop, build. But dude's got some skills. He can be on the podium. But I just want to see a handful of top fives in every gate drop this year.
One thing I'll say about Bennick coming over from Star, we were talking to him about the move and everything, and you can tell he had it with that place.
Oh yeah,
and their attitude about him. Like you could tell that he was just getting kind of just the crap kicked out of him mentally, physically, everything. And I think that Star program, I think it really works well for like the alpha dog Cooper Webb type of guy. Like we talked to Coop about a story of Bobby parking his bike before Vegas Supercross and telling him that he's what he told me was, who was the guy that Coop was telling us a story, or somebody was saying that, I think it was Coop, where he went out at his first outdoor national and got like a top 10, did really well. And Bobby told him he was a cycle trader rider and not a star. Was that Jay Coop? That was Jay Coop.
Yeah, Jay Coop got top 5 at Hangtown, and Bobby told him he's a cycle trader rider.
Dude, there's not a lot, like a lot of the new generation of kids, the younger kids, they don't respond well.
Yeah, you can't say that.
They really do not. Oh crap! I got to go grab my computer charger. 1 sec.
What do you think about Dax?
Yeah, I was a little disappointed with his like pro debuts. I'd say like I just because I expected a lot more out of him. I mean, what we saw out of him as an amateur and some of these SMX Next races, I thought he was like the next big thing coming up. And I don't think he filled those shoes very well. Obviously, like what he's saying with the whole Star program, I can understand how that doesn't work for him. That's we're all so unique as riders where we kind of like, I don't know, even riding in a certain group works better for other guys, riding with certain trainers, or like you were saying earlier with Hymas, like riding in isolation. Sometimes those things can benefit guys in other ways. And I have a little bit of a grudge with Dax because I picked him so many times in PulpMX Fantasy League, and he let me down. I had so much confidence in him, and yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see him on the Husky though. I think that if the engine package at Star wasn't working for him, then I think the chassis at Husky is going to work for him well.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also remember, Dax comes off the KTM Orange Brigade amateur program and working directly with Nathan Ramsey. Now he's working directly again with Nate Dogg.
Big Ramsey guy. Big Ramsey guy.
And I think Dax would tell you the same thing. I think that's a huge reason why he's back there. I really do. And you think about the different leadership style in Bobby Reagan and Nathan Ramsey. it's totally different. It's one side of the spectrum to the opposite. And Cooper Webb is on this side, and a guy like Dax Bennick is all the way on the Nathan Ramsey side. So, and you just have to kind of get in where you fit in, right? And I think Dax will excel on this program. But I also think he learned a ton at his time with Star. I mean, that time is invaluable, you know? So, but yeah, I also don't know. I don't know what to expect from him, though. Like, to say he's going to go out there and be a podium guy, I think that's being a little too eager. But to say he's going to go out there and get some top fives and try to be at every gate drop, I think is a realistic expectation and continues to move his career in the right direction.
Yeah, I think the template for success of coming back off an injury, trying to have a solid year, is just figure out where you can make a splash responsibly. You just want to show the people employing you that the potential is still in there, and that'll buy you some time. You know, you go out there and be fastest qualifier at Anaheim 1 or whatever, and you're doing pretty well in the main, but you tip over and get 12th. It's like, it's still, in terms of a developing rider, that is still kind of a success. So it's
you just got yourself another 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And
that one ride.
I got the same thing going with Casey Cochran too. I mean, the guy has lined up for like 6 races in the last 2 years, and I think he's hole shotted 90% of them. He is so good off the gate. He's another one of the prodigy types that won so much as an amateur. And some of these guys like Shimoda, Deegan, these guys are going to be gone. Kitchen, Mcadoo pretty soon. And we're going to have this young group starting to take over. So to me, this whole Husky team is, can these guys just put themselves in position for the years to come to be successful?
Yep.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
100% agree. Yep. All right, moving on. Red Bull KTM, obviously Juju out. We spent some time with him in at Angel Stadium for Media Day. Seems like he's doing better, maybe even than expected. And we'll be back for motocross. So good to hear. Juju, huge step up this year. Good to see him up there winning the race. And but they won't field another 250 guy. So Juju's only 250 guy on that team. Next up would be ClubMX. ClubMX. And this is the one I mentioned to you guys earlier. There's a couple guys on this list that I said Mosiman, don't be surprised if he wins. This one might shock you right here. Do not be surprised if Max Vohland wins a race in 2026.
Wins a race?
Don't be surprised.
I was going to say, maybe podium.
I seen that look on your face, AC. I seen that look.
Come on.
Hey, don't be surprised. I'm just going to leave it right there. And then Cole Beach, we can play this clip in January or February.
It's fine.
And the floor is yours, AC.
I just still can't get over the handbrake thing.
Yeah, I was going to say that's wild.
Like, if he does win a race with a handbrake, you might have some guys the next week running thumb throttles, dude.
Don't you think
thumb
it's
throttle
an
and handbrake
on certain tracks? I remember Pittsburgh. There was a right-hand turn before the finish line, and he would put his right leg out like halfway down the straightaway because he didn't need his rear brake, you know? And that had so much lean angle. And right then and there, I'm like, wait, is this an advantage? Like, could it possibly be an advantage? I mean, to train your brain to like know when to do it with your hand is weird, but I don't know, man. And it could totally be just a weekday thing because I've seen him ride a couple times now down at ClubMX. And I might be way wrong. But, dude, if he brings any sort of level that he's got on a Tuesday or Wednesday to Saturday, he can win a race.
Okay. Yeah, I'll buy it. Okay. I'll go with you, JB. Most of the time you're not super far off. But, I don't not believe in Vohland's ability. I also think that Vohland was kind of right in this group we're talking about with Bennick, Cochran, Ryder D. He had a lot of hype coming in. Like, and I think the beginning part of his career was very mismanaged by KTM.
100%.
Very mismanaged, put him in a really, really bad spot. And the only thing that I worry about, it's been a fair amount of time since I think he went pro in 2021. We were doing the residencies. I remember seeing him. It kind of seems like he's kind of found his spot and his groove. And the only thing, the way I would challenge him potentially winning a race is he's got a handbrake on his motorcycle. So clearly there was a time in his career where he thought he was done, not going to happen anymore. And now he's done a great job, man, a great job of coming back, making himself valuable, being inside the top 10, just doing his best. Like, I'm a big fan of what the kid has done. But sometimes when you have hit the bottom so many times, it can be very easy to be satisfied with where you're at. You know, like, he's got a good little, the club doesn't expect him to win. He's making some money. He's got a good little deal. I just don't know how it's affected his overall ambition, because in order to win at any level, 250, 450, like the level of commitment and almost desperation you have to do that is, you know, most people never want something that much in their entire lives. Like, that's what you have to carry into every weekend. You do it. So does he have that? I don't know. Remains to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, have you guys ridden a Stark yet with the handbrake?
I have not.
No.
It definitely, like, for us, right? Like, our right foot works perfectly fine. So it's definitely, it takes a long time to get used to. Just, you know, processing, like, oh, I need to hit the rear brake, and you grab it with your hand. I think with time you get a lot better at it. And I think, you know, I'm pretty sure last year was the first year we saw the handbrake on his bike.
Yep.
I think now that that he has a lot more experience with it, a lot more like of that processing cut out, like, oh, I need to hit the rear brake, and I grab it with my right or my left hand. I think just that alone, it probably feels completely second nature to him now, where I don't doubt him because of that, and he probably has more confidence because of that. I do see him getting on the podium this year. A win, I'll give it to you, JB, if it happens. I don't see it happening, but
it's a little
obviously
ambitious.
A little ambitious. But I mean, I remember watching him as an amateur and thinking that kid has so much talent. I was such a fan of his dad growing up, and yeah, you can see that style translate to him, and I mean, it'd be really cool to see him win a race, especially with the handbrake. I think that goes down in the record books.
Yeah, it's maybe my boldest prediction in the 250 class of 2026. But I'm going to stand by it. Another guy on the team that is pretty solid. And when you think about this team, I mean, Volan's national number 19. Cody Schock's the next guy I'm going to talk about. He's national number 22. Like, these guys are pretty underrated. And Schock last year, you know, he won a heat race. He's won a couple of heat races now. He's on the podium in Arlington. Like, this is a sneaky good, really, really good team that's battling with the factory guys. That's not nearly as funded as these factory teams. So for guys like Volan and now Cody Schock, like, can Schock win a race? Potentially, but I think just to try to get some more podiums for Cody is a solid year again. But it seems like he's had these years, he's stacking these years together like some of these guys that we're talking about that need to do. But for Cody, he's stacked together a couple really solid years back to back now. And can he continue to stack those and get a little bit better is to be seen. But I think he can. I think he could get a couple podiums, win another heat race or two, and have a solid 26.
Yeah, I think the ClubMX team and whole program, like, is completely underrated. From what we've seen out of those guys in the last 3 years, it's been pretty. I mean, it's been under every year. You kind of forget about them. You don't really put them in that same category as the PC and the Star and all that stuff, but they're there every weekend. Like, every time there's a white and blue bike up there that you don't expect. And yeah, Cody is like you said, he's stacked together some consecutive and consistent years. I think that trajectory keeps going.
The thing I like about Cody is when I first heard his name, he was doing pretty well. Got some top 10s on a 450 outdoors. So he was really good outdoors right away. And he got a lot better at Supercross. Every year he's taken a pretty big step. And so this year, I think what I saw out of him in 2025, I was like, this could be it. This could be as good as he gets, because he has come a long way. To me, is there more in the tank for him? I'm not sure, but I think technically on the bike, he's got a template to be even better than he is now. But I think now it just comes down to belief. He's always been an underrated guy. He's always been an underdog. Fans love him. Is he satisfied with where he's at now? I'm sure he never thought he would be. Even 5 years ago, he probably didn't think he'd be in this position. So does he want more? Is he reaching for more? I mean, that's half the battle. It's just expecting that of yourself. It's knowing that you can be that good. So I'm not sure what he thinks, but I love his attitude. Always very positive. Enjoy talking with the guy. Big fan. Have we heard anything on gear sponsor? They're not FXR anymore, right? JB, they're right down the road from you.
Yeah, they're not FXR. I can't hit some breaking news like that. I know what they're wearing, but
okay.
I'm not going to be.
So you're withholding information from our viewers.
Wow, man,
that's brutal, dude. Brutal.
Yeah. You'll find out soon enough. How about the next guys though? Like honestly, I feel like I'm going to lump the next guys we talk about. We just lump them all together. And the other two that are on ClubMX Yamaha are Devin Simonson and Hunter Yoder. Devin, tons of skills. Hunter Yoder, great starts. Big opportunity for these guys, right? Like
I'm excited for Yoder. I'm excited for him to get on some good equipment with a good program. I think we're going to see some good stuff out of him this year.
Yeah, and I think the same for Devin Simonson. I watched the kid ride during the week. I'm telling you guys, he's got some skills.
Yoder does not take any crap from anyone. I was watching him in practice last year, and somebody brushed up against him like on accident, and I think I'm remembering this right. I mean, I think he like put him over the berm in the next turn. Like, and I always see him. Sometimes he's like fighting with somebody in the tunnel. I like it. He's scrappy.
Yeah, talk about fighting for your position. He was one of those guys also that like won a lot as an amateur.
Yeah,
and hats off to him for sticking with it, because I mean, to hop on some privateer equipment and do what he's done, and now he's getting another shot at it. That's really cool to see.
Well, he was a Geico Honda kid, riding the 150. I mean, he was probably making some money at the time as an amateur, and obviously Geico folded at the wrong time for him. But yeah, to your point, Cole, imagine going. I mean, I'm kind of feeling that way right now. Every time I load my bike up, go to the track, and I'm putting gas in the bike, putting chain lube on. Like I'm in the gutter over here, guys. Could you
wash
imagine
air filters, change your own oil?
Yeah, no, I haven't done any of that yet. I just dropped the bike off at Cowie for that kind of stuff.
Man,
naturally. I'm kidding, obviously, but yeah, it is pretty cool that he went from having the full factory deal to having to get it out the mud himself, and he's still doing it. Obviously, loves riding dirt bikes.
I mean, terrible timing. Kind of got the rug pulled out from under him, and he's had to do it on his own.
Yeah,
so,
he's not doing it for the
It's
money.
cool to see him stick with it. Yeah,
he just loves riding dirt bikes. So, who else you got? Lux Turner. When's he coming back?
He's going to try and make Anaheim, but if you talk about Yoder, Simonson, Parker Ross, Dylan Schwartz, Lux Turner, Mumford, Colin Park, like all these guys, I really feel like they're on the verge of like, can they take one more step to then get have a factory team notice them? And the one that stands out to me, and it's basically from our trip to Australia, AC, is Lux Turner. Lux Turner to me is like, it's maybe a bold prediction, but I predicted even when we were in Australia a couple months ago that Lux Turner will be on a factory 250 team in 2027. It's nothing against the Toyota Redlands BarX Yamaha team. I think they're doing a great job, but it is a stepping stone to the next step. And I think Lux is one of the guys that, and I don't know with injury now, this was pre-injury. He broke his wrist and he's trying to come back. He's rehabbing, trying to come back for A1, but pre-injury, to me, he was going to be a top 5 guy, several top 5s in whatever coast he rode. Like I'm high on Lux Turner, man. I think he's going to be one of the guys that we talk about in a couple of years battling for championships. I think he can make that literally from the bottom, 125C at Loretta's, all the way to battling for titles in a Supercross. And it's similar to me and Cole's story. So I think I might be a little bit biased, but Cole, he reminds me a lot of you and I, like tons of bike skills, not a lot of belief until you actually start proving it to yourself. And now that he's proven it to himself, man, sky's the limit. The kid's good.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It kind of reminds me of when I went from Fun Center Suzuki to the Troy Lee, like get on some better equipment. They weren't, back then they weren't the factory support that they were back then. So yeah, I saw a lot of talent out of him last year. Yeah, I think I agree with you completely. I think the sky's the limit with him. Just he's one of those guys where I think he just needs to be there every race, like get his 6th or his 8ths, and then have his breakout rides, and then before you know it, we're looking at the result sheet at the end of the year, and you're like, wait, Lux is like 4th in points. Like I could see it going that kind of way, and then he earns a ride on a factory team and really starts to develop himself as like a really solid guy you can bet on. But yeah, tons of talent. I don't know him personally, but never heard a bad thing about him.
I did not realize he had such a crazy story. Talking to him at media days, he didn't start really. He took like 5 years off of riding from ages like 11 to 15, got a bike, and then convinced his parents to basically let him drive himself down to California, I believe, to train for 2 weeks at a time. But then he would have to go back home and work for 2 weeks and then go back and train. Then they went to the Arizona Open, big amateur race. He did really well. And then the parents were like, okay, we got to start, putting some more money into this. And next thing you know, and I agree with you, JB. The reason why I think he can be as good as you're saying is because the backstory. Like a lot of these kids he's racing now were in training facilities when they were 8 years old. And so him getting a late start. But another thing I think that does is allows him to work with more enthusiasm too. I mean, how many of these guys we've talked about 2 years into their career are at times periodically over it or just take certain stuff for granted because that's just the human condition. So I think mentally he's got a chance to be a lot better than he is now because of the late start. And I think he's got a potential to like keep getting better for a long time just because he's so stoked to be here. To me, that's the most intriguing one. Like you said, JB, I have to agree with you. Lux Turner, top 5, stamp it.
Yeah, and remember his sister's Lala Turner, arguably the best women rider
she's good
on the planet right now. So they obviously have a certain belief system in and amongst their family of being winners, and I think that matters. We don't talk about that a lot, but I think seeing yourself as a winner matters, right? And I think he does and will eventually. So yeah, big Lux Turner fan.
Good job, guys. We just went through the whole list, and
Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. JB, are we leaving anybody out? I know there's going to be. I know you guys are going to be in the comments. I know you guys are going to be in the comments giving us crap for somebody we left out. But we're still kind of new at this, so go easy on us.
I think we got everybody. Cole, you have anyone else in mind?
No, honestly, there's so much talent right now. It's like before I hopped on here, I was like, I even went through Instagram and like Racer X and stuff, like trying to remind myself, like I know I'm gonna forget somebody. It's hard to include everybody. Like, and I keep saying it, like only one guy can win, only 10 guys can get in the top 10, but there's just this whole field is stacked with talent, and I think just like we saw last year, there's probably going to be a guy that we didn't mention, that we didn't even think about, that breaks through, and we save that for talking about the 27th season. So yeah, there's just so many good guys nowadays.
Haiden Deegan, your 250 West Coast champion. Seth Hammaker, your 250 East Coast champion. You heard it here first, folks.
Wow.
What's the date?
Wow.
December 17th.
I'm gonna go Deegan and Davies.
Deegan and Davies, good call. JB?
Yeah.
Oh man. What would you guys say if I went Anstie Mcadoo? Would you laugh me out of the room?
No.
That's bias. That's being super biased.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just gotta do it, dude. Don't question it. Just do it. That's who you're going with, Anstie Mcadoo?
That's it.
Okay. All right. I'm sure our viewers are going to have a great time in the comments section after that one.
Love it.
No, those guys could do it, man. They could do it. It's sometimes it's like that. Sometimes when we think like there's such a clear favorite, sometimes it just doesn't happen. So I like it. It's a good time.
Yeah,
boys.
I mean, look, 50% of me is just having some fun, but the other half of me
wants it to happen.
I think it'd be awesome. And imagine, like I said, imagine the highlight reel of Mcadoo's championship video, or even Anstie's coming from Europe doing what he did. But look, Deegan's going to be hard to beat, of course.
Very
Cole,
hard.
thanks, dude. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
Always good to see you. We spent so much time together when we were racing.
Yeah.
We don't see you much today, but we need to get you on more, man. It was awesome.
I know. I need to make some rounds this year and come say hi to you guys in the booth and hang out a little bit.
Yeah, come on, Race Day Live, dude. Let's talk some crap. Appreciate you, dude. It's a fun show. It's a good show, boys. That's our 250 preview show. We're gonna have a 450 preview coming out sometime in the next. We're running a loose program. It's coming out sometime in the next couple weeks, but this should hold you guys over until then. But as always, thank you guys for listening, supporting. We cannot wait for 2026. Got a lot of big things in store. Appreciate you fellas. You guys crushed it.
Thanks for having me on, boys.